Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. There you are. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. It's great to see you. Happy Friday night. It is cocktail night again, and it is gallery night at that. It has been a little while since we've had a gallery night. I know it's because I was away. I just feel like it's been a monstrously long time since we've had gallery night, and it is a great gallery night tonight. I don't know if you saw the thumbnails I've put up so far. I did the teaser yesterday with Jessica Troyer's piece, and the finished piece is in it here. We're always looking at Jessica's pieces and going, oh my God. And I put a finished Klimt piece, an adaptation by Courtney Lynn Russell. That's in the thumbnail tonight. I got so much amazing work. It was hard choosing which piece would be the most colorful to put into the thumbnail this time. Such a lot of fun. As you can see, I'm at my mom's house. And hopefully the sound and everything. Let me just check my levels. There we go. So I don't have a set. I'm just hanging out. It's been a while, right? It's been a while. As soon as I got home from the Cape, everything went bonkers and crazy, and I had to go to the wedding, and then I had the tooth thing, and still lingering, and all of this. The kids have been off school for their summer vacation, and we hadn't done anything yet. So right after the hit or miss class yesterday, we got in the car and we came up here for a couple of days to hang out. So here I am, um, makeshift set tonight. We managed to, with my mom's intelligence, print the cues for today, double sided at that. So we are ready to rock. I am excessively tired tonight, so you'll have to forgive me if my brain isn't working well, or I'm kind of dragging a little bit. I love getting together. I'm having a drink, a blueberry ale tonight. That's probably not going to help my brain very much, but it is refreshing. I'm just so tired. It was hot. That's what it is. It was hot. Holy mackerel. I know a lot of you are having the same thing. I know there's a lot of people in Canada who are like, wow, too hot to sleep. Like, really, like cat on a hot tin roof, too dang hot. Um, yeah, it has been, whew, and it's raining right now. Thank you, because it's still like hot and humid. But I mean, last night was unsleepable. It was completely unsleepable. I haven't been that hot since before menopause. I mean, it's been a really long. Oh, I'm gonna sleep well tonight. All I can say is those kids better be exhausted because nobody's keeping me awake tonight. I have just enough energy to run a banging great show tonight. It is going to be fantastic. As you can imagine, there are so many beautiful pieces in here. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the stuff that people sent in because it is all so pretty and so worth spending time on and remarking upon. Linda, it's great to see you. Happy Friday from super summery New Jersey. I know the rain has been traveling. I spoke to a couple of people on Facebook earlier, and I was like, "Whoo, this is unreal. This is like science fiction hot." Um, and I mean, maybe I'm just like a baby chicken, and I've got my baby chicken pants on, but it was really something. And people saying, "Oh no, it's raining here," and I thought, okay, well maybe it'll be raining here too, and now it is. But I'm too scared to open the door. I'm afraid I'm gonna like get blisters, like just from opening the door, a crack, like, and then just blisters. I mean, it's awful. Kaz, happy gallery night from cloudy and cool Wisconsin. That sounds fantastic. You have a fantastic piece in the show tonight, by the way. Cheryl, it's great to see you. Cheers, my dears, everyone, after a rather toasty day. Do you have rain? Do you have rain? Did you get the rain yet? Because I bet it's headed your way. I'm having a nice, my mom's stocked up. I mean, I haven't been drinking at all lately because I've been trying to lose weight. And I thought I was losing weight because I hardly eat anything anymore. I'm like a bird eating out of the bird feeder for the most part. And I got on her scale. That was the first thing I did when I got here. And I think, if anything, I weigh the same or 1 pound more. It's like, really? Really? So, to celebrate that great success and all of those food sacrifices, blueberry ale. Why not? It's really nice. It doesn't taste like blueberry at all, but it smells like blueberry. So that counts for something, right? Mm. Pam, it's great to see you. I'm glad that you're around a little bit. I know that you're very busy, but I was having a bit of a panic cold turkey thing, thinking you weren't going to be around at all. Very happy to see you, and your project in the show tonight is fantastic. Liberty, South Carolina, it was 91 today, so you stayed in and started a new hooking project. That's smart. I think it was 96 or 98 when we were in the car, and the kids were like dogs wanting to hang their faces out the windows, just not understanding it's worse. It's better to just give the car 5 seconds to get the cool air going, and hanging your face out the window when it's in the 90s is not really going to help. We went to Friendly's for breakfast. Remember Friendly's? Did you used to have Friendly's? It's like an international house of pizza kind of thing. So much fun, but you have to be there before 11. And since we hardly slept, it was hard mobilizing. Even we had to leave the house at like 10:15 to get there because it's not super close. But it was nice being there, and it was so icy and air conditioned that for an hour or two while we were having coffee and having breakfast, I kind of forgot that it was like Mars outside, and it was a rough one. Becky, great to see you. Happy cocktail night. Cheers, my dears. You're cleaning your wool stash. That is great. As you listen, that is really smart. I have a huge cooler thing, freezer thing in the garage, and I have gotten into the habit at Kirsten's recommendation. She's so good and methodical about stuff. Every time she gets something new, like a rug or supplies or whatever, she just puts it into the freezer routinely. And I thought, that's a really good preventative measure, right, against getting moths or having any kinds of problems. If you can't wash everything immediately that you don't know, like, obviously not new stuff, but if you're doing like thrifty stuff, and you've got weird stuff coming in the house, or you've got rugs, and you think, yeah, there's no problem. If you have a big freezer, and the freezer wasn't that expensive. I think it was like maybe $300, like a big 7 cubic feet freezer from Amazon. I thought, and it was a one person job to take it off the trolley and just put it. I put it in the garage next to the plug, and now routinely every time I get anything that's not brand new, I'm just going to put it in there in like Ellis Island for a while, because why not. So yeah, it's good to be just. I never think about this and say this, but it's good to be cleaning your wool. And I know a lot of us are doing thrifty stuff. And when you're cutting stuff up from stores, you're getting stuff from antique places. You're bringing rugs in from shops or flea markets, right? Anything like that. It's good to put it into your Ellis Island, whatever that looks like. So that's a great thing to be doing, Becky. That's really smart. Melanie, great to see you. I snuck one of your things in tonight too. I think it's the last slide of the night. Happy Friday, happy cocktail night. Yeah, it wasn't a good week. I have to admit, it was not a good week. But what was really fun for me anyway was running the group of 7 class. That was a lot of fun. And then yesterday I did the hit or miss with the big bag of noodles, right? And yeah, it was fun. We did 5 different kinds of hit or miss fills. The class is coming up 2 more times. I think one of the times is, I don't want to say it because I don't have my phone. I don't have my phone with me right now. But it's on the Ribbon Candy Hooking website, and there's a link to the hit or miss class in the description of this video. So yeah, it was real fun. We did. I tried to tailor that particular class um, for people who are beginners and quite experienced. So I kind of did, and I had a short presentation that we looked at from time to time, where I'd say like, okay, so the first fill that we're doing is, for example, clamshell. And this is what it looks like. And then I had like a couple of pages of rugs to say, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like alone. This is what it looks like when it's an all over pattern. This is what it looks like as a border. Just different examples from mostly antique rugs. I think all antique rugs. And then, okay, let's do it. So then I put the camera down on my hands and, did a few, for example, clamshell. And we did that for marble cake, echo, clamshell, log cabin, and cat's paw. So there's a lot. I mean, I thought maybe I should have done brick or like one of the other classic hit or miss, but I thought those are probably the most common. So I'm glad we at least got started with questions that you would ask yourself when you're approaching a hit or miss project, whether it's a border or a fill, or you're filling like the shape of a cat or something like that. You got something simple going on. You're going to fill it with a hit or miss technique. I think it turned out to be a great class, and I was really proud of myself, because I haven't been feeling great, and I have had this. I needed this stupid crown, and I think it was a crown because it feels better now. But it cracked to filling, fantastic, right? That feels fantastic. That was right up there. Oh, what level of pain have you got? I'm usually like, my head's hanging on by a thread, and I'm usually like, oh, 1.5. It was like, oh, this is a good 9.5. Like this has been a good 9.5 for a few days. But now that is receding into the past. And I was really happy to get through those two classes with energy, with aspirin and Motrin, Tylenol, all of it. And I think we had a good time in those classes, and they will both repeat. So group of 7 is coming up again on Sunday night, the day after tomorrow. And then hit or miss, you'll have to check because there's 2 more dates. One of the dates I feel like is coming up in a week or so. It's there and in the description of this video. And then I added another date. It was initially July 3rd. And then when I looked at my calendar, I thought, well, that was stupid because a lot of people go away for the 4th of July. And so do we. So I thought, well, that was stupid. It like really limits people's movements if you plan to do something for the 4th of July. So I bumped it 1 week back, same times, I think 7 to 9 on July 10th. So that's the third one I added. And since then, there's been 4 or 5 more kits that have been ordered for hit and miss. So if this is a thing and people are thinking, you know, I kind of know how to hook, I get how to do primitive stuff, I get how to do more realistic stuff. One of my kind of blind spots is I don't know how to do a lot with hit or miss. If people keep signing up for it, I'll just keep adding dates to it because the classes will be recorded, but it's also great to, be there in person. Because if someone's a beginner, they can say to me, as they did in the class, something's wrong. And I can say, can you tip your camera so I can see what you're doing and can I see the piece? Because chances are at this point in my life, right, there's always a chance I don't know, right? I have to ask someone else or figure it out. But chances are I look at your hands even on the camera and I can say, all right, I think that the hook that you've got, because this class didn't come with a hook, is too wide or too small for the size strip that you're using. So it's always something, isn't it? You know what it never is? I always say this, it's never you, right? Oh, I can't do this. This is so stupid. I can't do it. It's not working. I'm not cut out to do this. Well, that doesn't make any sense. It's not, that's what it never is. But sometimes it feels good to, blow your stack and go that route, right? And then sometimes you need to retreat for a decade and then you come back and go, yeah, maybe it was my hook. We all do this. We do this with everything in our lives, I think. But they were 2 very fun classes. So if you're interested in either of them and you haven't done it yet, make sure you sign up. I said to everybody, particularly in the hit or miss class, if you sign up for that class and you see that there's other dates, you are super welcome. I always put all of the login stuff, all of the to-date login stuff into everybody's email because you're always welcome to come back, particularly with something that's a practical class like, oh, it's getting hot again, particularly with something that's a practical class like that because I'm thinking for people, particularly who are beginners, if they want to come back, for example, on July 10th, a little time has gone by, you might have done some stuff in the meantime and you might have had some problems in that time. It's a great idea to come back on camera and say, and then maybe I can figure it out and we can keep going again. So you're always welcome to come back. It's not like one hit wonder, right? You get one try. It's like the carnival. It's like you get 3 tries for the same price, right? And it makes sense to do that. It also makes sense to come to gallery night as we are and have photographs of stuff that's an issue for you. This is my piece. This is what it looks like. It's not staying in the backing. The backing is too loose. The backing ripped. This is the hook I've got. This is what's happening. You can always send pictures of those kinds of scenarios too, because again, you get my brain for whatever it's worth, and then everybody else who's on live will say, "Uh-oh, I've done that too. I know that one. That's one of my top 10 solid gold hits, and this is how you fix it." So it's always good to brainstorm like this together. There's absolutely no point in bluffing in life, right? You get to an age and a point where you think, yeah, I'm just going to put it all out there, even if it sounds awful, and say to people, can you help me? Because if you don't and you bluff instead, it could be a long time before you figure out the thing. And why do that when we have gallery night, right? So anyway, Becky, Melanie, April, great to see you. It was great to see you for hit or miss too. It was fun to see you. And Trisha, great to see you in Illinois. Kirsten, cheers, my dear. So glad to finally make a show this week. You've had a busy week, so I think you're chugging right along and you're doing great. April, happy cocktail night. Beautiful rug on the cover. Yeah, that is a beautiful rug. That is the Klimt, the Lady with Fan, and I put the link to it because that is the adaptation that I did, right? It's not So different than the Klimt, but it is different. I feel like I took out things that were real superfluous and streamlined it in a way that I think makes it easier to hook and more approachable. You know, when you think about Klimt or any of the fine artists, right, who are super, super well known, and the style is iconic, and you think, there's no way I can hook that. You always can, right? And my job is to make sure that if I send out a pattern, that the lines are drawn in such a way that it's more likely that you will succeed than not, right? So, I mean, all when you see this Klimt, all of it is down to to Courtney. I'm sorry, all of it is down to Courtney. But yeah, it's doable. It's all doable, even if it's harrowing and long-winded, right? Because that is a big piece. Ryan, great to see you. You've got a beautiful piece in tonight too. Thank goodness it's Friday. Hot there in Texas. Oh my God, I bet. Now poolside with a mocktail. I love summer. Peace and love to you too. Yeah, I love summer too. I just this was the day that made me wonder if I actually do even like summer. But yeah, there are so many nice things happening, and it's so beautiful outside. It's just hard to manage the heat, and I can't help but think, um, let's not start. Like, let's not start at all with these kinds of thoughts. But it worries me that we're going to get warmer and warmer, notably like this as time goes on. And I think, at the point I am with life and always being hot, I can't handle too much more than this. Yeah, right? This sense of humor, young children, overheated, all of it, you know. Jessica, great to see you. Hello, it's sweltering over there in Ohio. I am sorry. Hope you're staying cool. I'm finishing a project at 91 degrees right now. God, it's all of us, isn't it? I am actually sweltering, but it's my own fault. I got so I got so hot, right? That I'm done. I'm done with that. But then I got so cold because it started to rain and everything went dark and shadowy, and the air conditioner is still pumping. And I got so cold that I put on these. Do you see this? These are flannel pants with Santa Claus on them. And now I'm really sweating. I've got to get them off when I switch to our slideshow and you can't see me. But I have flannel Santa drawers on right now. That's how cold it got. Now it's changing back. Oh man. All right. Well, at least it's Friday and we've got some pretty stuff to look at. Robin, great to see you. Your piece is beautiful in here too. Cheers, my dears from Wisconsin. But it's cool in Wisconsin, right? Mm. Karen, great to see you. Beautiful piece in the show tonight. Good evening from pleasant Black Forest, Colorado, where the frogs are chirping and the hummingbirds are buzzing. So it is not pouring rain there, and it doesn't sound like it's dangerously hot either. That sounds very temperate and comfortable. Diane, great to see you. Cheers, my dears, in Canada. White wine spritzer and a slice of cranberry. Stop it. Cranberry walnut sourdough bread. That sounds fantastic. God, that sounds fantastic. Oh, Valerie, great to see you. Valerie, I think I have a piece of yours in the show. I think I do. Good evening, TGIF, right? Amen to that. Great to see you. Ida, great to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Salut. Vodka with pineapple, with cranberry pomegranate and club. Oh, that sounds good. You all are such good bartenders, right? That sounds amazing. Kathy, beautiful piece in the show. Happy Friday night in New Hampshire. Great to see you. It is hot there too, Ida. Oh, I bet. Oh, it's not fair. Goretti, beautiful piece in the show. Hello from Acton. It's been gone too long. Nice to be back. Well, super, super welcome back. I hope it was fun. Hope everything is good. And I love the piece that you sent in. Hope everything's good with Mike too. And Catherine, great to see you. Cheers from hot Southern California. I sent your piece out yesterday or the day before, the Halloween book piece. Great to see you. Kathy says, I've stopped stepping on the scale. Reduces a lot of stress. Yeah, I just thought there was going to be such a good number, that I thought it would sort of, it especially with, I'm stopping and I'm starting the show, but especially with having like so much pain with my stupid cracked tooth this week. I thought there was so many days I hardly ate anything. And I thought, surely I must have lost like, I don't know, a ton, like a ton. But no, just not the case. It's just hard. I never thought it would be so hard. I was always tiny And I never thought about it at all. I just, I guess, took for granted that it was very easy to be very slim and healthy, and I exercise sometimes, and yeah, and that has definitely changed in my 50s. That's for sure. I can't believe how difficult it's become. Joy, great to see you. Cheers, my dears. Did you tell Courtney I had her picture up for tonight? Cheers, my dears. Karen, I love Friendlies. We named one of our guinea pigs Fribble. Oh, that's their shake. Friendlies, you know how every place has a different shake? Like Wendy's has the Frosty and Dairy Queen has the, what's it called? Blizzard. And each place has its own whatever. And for Newport Creamery, it's the Awful Awful, but that's not a national brand. And yeah, for Friendlies, it's the Fribble. They are so fun, and it is so good. I miss having guinea pigs. They are so funny. They're crazy hurricane fur, right? Veronica, great to see you in Southern California. Happy Friday night. Ida says Colleen T left a tip on our Wilmington's page to leave wool in the hot car too. Yeah, that's a great idea to make sure that, especially when you're trading, when you're going to events and stuff, and you're trading wool, right? You just want to be sure that if someone else maybe took wool out of the attic or someplace, and I even hate to say the word moth on the show, but if there's any issues with it at all, heat is good. Heat and cold are good, and they're good in succession. So in other words, like if you do have a freezer and you are already in the habit of banging stuff into the freezer for 72 hours is the gauge, is the guide. When you take it out, when it's foul hot weather like it is now, and you put it right out in the sun, that's like the best thing that you can do. Go from extreme to extreme, because nothing can survive that, not even human beings. Nothing can survive that. But yeah, the extreme hot, extreme cold, both of them work really well, and in tandem, it's absolutely 100%. Shannon, great to see you. Shannon, thank you for putting together gallery night tonight. A huge shout out and thank you to Shannon. I just don't have enough hours in the day. And I really need help. Shannon is one of the many people who give me so much help. And without that help, I just can't do stuff. I have to cancel stuff because it's a choice between more breakdowns or getting some help, right? In so many ways. But Shannon, thank you so much for your help with this show. I was like right on the edge with what I could do because I put together 2 classes this week. And then the pain days really took a lot out of me. Dave, great to see you. Oh God, I love Thai green curry so much. Hard cider is a perfect complement with that. When I eat Thai food, it is always Thai green curry. I cannot say no to it. I love the red curry, and I love all of the curries, but Thai green has got to be it. Olivia, hello, good evening, and happy gallery night. It's great to see you. Had a great heat wave. Oh, I can't picture Ireland being that hot, but I know that you're right. When I've been there, it's always been rainy. It's beautiful, emerald color in the rain, right? Extra emerald. But I can't imagine, but I'm sure that you're right. It must be incredible. Gail, what's the weather like in Australia? Are you having a terrible heat wave too, or is everything? Because it's like topsy turvy times, isn't it? You're so far away; it's the opposite of everything. Makes me wonder because it's not your summer; it's your winter. So no, of course it's not hot there. Of course it's not. It's the opposite, right? How funny is that? And yesterday was solstice, wasn't it? So that, I mean, all of this is hard to comprehend. I don't have very good global sense. Lisa, great to see you. Really great to see you. Ryan says, thank you, Shannon, and everybody who, yeah, there's a lot of buddies who helped me get stuff together. Courtney, I'm glad you're there. Your piece is so beautiful. Gail, you are freezing. That actually makes me feel good. That gave me like a little mini shiver thinking about you being cold this morning for you, right? And topsy turvy world for us, we're all here dying at night in the heat. It's just so funny, isn't it? What a world. Joyce, great to see you. Happy cocktail night. Not a great to see you. Good evening from San Francisco Bay Area. Lovely weather there, 72. Wow, that sounds amazing. With the night times in the upper 40s. That is normal. That sounds like a normal summer night. Nice and cool in the evening. Oh, I'm jealous. That sounds amazing. Mm. So tonight, I'm going to share what we have all been working on. I have got some beautiful pieces that were sent in. At the very end, I'm going to show you what I'm working on. I'll show you a couple of pictures. I'm working on the cover for the Halloween book, The Haunted Rug. And I have to say, not to start off on a negative note, but you know how I always say, don't pull stuff out. You know, don't pull stuff out if you don't have to. Why? Just give it a hot minute. Wait, see how it goes. See if you change the way you feel about stuff. And all I can say is I was so happy to come here after the classes this week and getting finally some pain relief. And so happy to see my mom and to be here, just change of scenery kind of a thing with the kids and all of that summer stuff. And I took out my hooking for the first time since we were on the Cape, which wasn't that long ago, but it was, over 2 weeks. I have not turned on the television set and I have not opened my hooking bag. I've got this rolling suitcase, right? It's like a craft suitcase. Haven't even opened it. It was still buckled shut from when we left the Cape. Because I've just been busy with orders and putting the classes together and getting all of those Halloween images out to you, everyone who's doing one. And I haven't done a thing. And I was so eager to take out the piece for the cover that I drew, and I'll show you at the end if there's time. Um, and I put it on my frame, and I thought, yes, it's time. And I nestled into the corner of the couch, all sweaty. It's like she's got like a leathery couch down there, and I was all 90% uncovered and gross, like 20-pound sausage in a 5-pound sack, sitting wedged into the corner of a leather sofa with this heavy hot frame on top of me and all this wool around me. And I thought, yeah, let's do this. And I watched 2 episodes of Midsummer Murders. One of them, The Straw Woman. That was like one of the best ones I've ever seen. So I'm guessing that was 4 hours of work. And I pulled it all out this morning because while I was awake last night, I was thinking, it's just not right. It's just not right. And when it's the cover of a book and it's a book, this is the book I've been waiting to do. I just pulled it all out. So I'm not in great shape with my projects right now. I just started filling in the sheep. Like there's a sheep in the center of the cover. I just started filling it in a few hours ago with a different color. And guess what? I ran out. And it's a print, right? It's like a Tweety black and yellow that I have never seen before. It was a rolled up little cinnamon bun thing that was meant for braiding. And I saw it and I thought, God, look at all this. This is huge. I'm very short. So I hope I don't have to I don't pull this out again because it is so disheartening when this happens over and over and over. I am looking to you tonight, looking at your great work for some positive energy because work-wise, I feel like I am a disaster right now and I don't have the time to do these kinds of mess ups. Elle Crane just found this channel this afternoon. Very cool. You live in Fort Myers, Florida. Oh my God, we lived there for 1 year on what was it called? Liberty, I think Liberty Square. Do you know where that is? The year we lived there, there was a cougar loose like in the center. It's like a little green in the center. And I went to the high school there, Cypress Lake. I was a junior then, and I'm 52 now. So that was a while ago. What a beautiful place. I'd love to get back there. It's great to see you. I'm glad you found the channel. Huge welcome to you. People saying welcome. Olivia, oh, thank you so much. And Pam says, when it's not right, you know it, and it's not, and you know it's not right, and you won't be happy until you fix it. You do that a lot. You're right. You're so right. Sometimes I just sit with stuff because I move at such great speed. But in this case, I thought because it's the cover. If it wasn't the cover, I might have been more of the mindset of let's do square peg circle hole. Like I did the whole background purple. And we'll talk about it more later. I'll show you the piece and I'll tell you specifically why I couldn't keep going with the color that I chose and why this can happen. And it was actually a great experience for me. I definitely don't have the time for this kind of nonsense, but it was a good experience for me because I have been of the mindset like you figure out how to make it work, right? Your inner artist can always figure out how to make it work. Well, Pam, you're right. Sometimes it is just wrong, right? It's just like life. Rug hooking is just like life. Sometimes something is just wrong and you know it and you know what you got to do and whether you do it or not, right, sometimes is up to you. Broader strokes, right, but this was one of those things that could not work. So I am extra looking forward to looking at your work now and seeing all of these great successes because I need some of that to rub off on me right now. I need that badly. So let's come over to June cocktail night. It is June 21st. We are hot, but man, we are going to have some fun. Jill Carrick, you sent some beautiful stuff in. You wrote, as you know, I'm a rug puncher. Here is my very first. And Jill and I met when we were at the Wisconsin Fiber Festival. Robin, when was that? Like in September? Was it last September that I was out there and we were fooling around at the Fiber Fest and Jill linked up with us. Remember? We took those great pictures. Jill is a puncher, right? She is exclusively a puncher, and this is her first hooked. Here we go, hooked project, and she bought this at the at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. Just 2 weeks ago. Okay, so another. That's right. I forgot the Maryland one was happening September. Kaz says that's right. It was September. I'll try to remember. Um, did you catch that? So talk about last in, first out. She said that's funny. That is so funny. So she goes on to say, yes, September. She goes on to say, I know that it might be considered packed, and I haven't finished it yet, but I do tend to like it dense. Okay, and then Jill sent in a couple other things. Let's look at this first. Jill, this is your first hooked piece. It looks like it's on burlap. This looks great. It's a small piece with a very wide cut. This looks to me like an 8 or a 9, mixed in, maybe an 8, mixed with maybe 3-ply yarn. So I see some yarn. The white is the yarn, but with the green and the red, I see both yarn and wool strips. Do you see that too for both? So that's interesting because putting them together, wool strips and yarn, we talked about this in Hit or Miss yesterday, can give you a lot of extra texture, a lot of extra interest. I'm pulling these flannel pants off, and just a lot of bling, right? Different kinds of bling. You get that different feel when you see those two fibers together, and they are exactly the same color, but you can tell there's a little something extra going on. Well, it's yarn being used in conjunction with wool strips. Really, really nice to look at. Lots of interest. I love the texture on the flower pot too, right? It's a very simple composition. It's an interesting crop, right? It's almost like a quarter crop, like you're missing the right-hand side and then you're missing both bottom pieces. So it's an interesting composition, very sweet, very basic colors, has a good summer feel to it, even though it's reds and greens. And if it's packed, it's packed. I'm not looking at it and thinking it's packed. I'm not getting that vibe. This to me is a piece, when you're a puncher, just by nature of punching, you move in lines, right? You typically move in lines because when you're a puncher, and of course there are exceptions to everything, you tend to work in lines because it's faster, right? You don't just start boobing it up, going in concentric circles and bada 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 all over the place because it's a little bit harder to move your punch that way. With hooking, we have a little bit more mobility, in my opinion. And I feel like you can jump from thing to thing and place to place, and you can cross and carry and do all this naughty stuff with a hook that is much more difficult to do with a punch. So I think it is really difficult for people to go from punch to hooking. Not to mention you're looking at your piece in the front first. So when I look at this, I see a variety of styles, right? And I don't see a lot of directional hooking, and that's probably in part because it's number one, a small piece. Number two, a lot of it's yarn. You just really can't get directional hooking with pieces of yarn because it comes up like a little dit dot, right? With the flower pot, there's a better chance to get directional hooking because you've got big wide pieces that come up like little rectangles, right? But you don't have to have directional hooking. You don't have to have everything at one height. I can see in the background that things are slightly different heights. For me, that adds interest and bling. I would not know that this was your first piece, Jill, even though I know you. I would not know that. I think this is a great piece. I love the style of it. And as I always say in classes, and I just said it yesterday in Hit or Miss, some of us are super technical and some of us are super creative, and most of us are a little bit of both. But when you are a very technical person or a more technical person, and I think people who punch in general, this is a blanket statement again, but I think people who go toward punch in the first place in general, I think they tend to be people who are more technical, naturally technical, than people who go for hooking. Just in terms of teaching and what I see, it doesn't matter, right? This is something that doesn't matter. It's just an observation. When I see punchers, they tend to be much more regimented in the way that they work, the order of how they work, the movements, right? Because to me, holding a punch and being like da 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 is more mechanical than going, yeah, I think I'll use this hook today, or should I use this hook today, or maybe I'll grab that crochet hook, and you're kind of, it depends on how you work. Right? But with a hook, it's kind of like, here I am, not attached to anything. Here we go. And with a punch, it's a bit different. You're attached to the piece with your needle is attached to the punch. I'm tired. Is attached to your skein, and you're kind of, I feel attached when I do punch. I feel like Victorian kitten in a basket of yarn, like everything's getting tangled up. And I do like punch, but I feel that the people who are the most successful at it are people who are a little bit more technical. And I can see that it would be challenging and just different to move from punch to hooking. So I think it's a great exercise, whether you're a puncher or a hooker, once in a while to flip flop, if only, because when you're punching, you're going like this, down, 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 down. And when you're hooking, you're going like this, up, 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 up. And it's great for your wrist to have that variety, the opposites, right? Dualities. Because otherwise, you can end up getting wrist problems and hand problems. For me, it's always the back of my hand and in here. So I mix it up often. Everybody should try mixing up. And it is hard to mix it up. This is truly a success. This is a beautiful piece. It looks great. If it's packed, it doesn't seem packed to me. Jill is saying, I like stuff that's a little bit dense. I don't like stuff to be too loose Lautrec. So, when that's the case, that's absolutely fine. Whether you pack or not, and you might be hooking for 50 years and then realize you've been packing all along, and it's like, stop me before I kill again. I can't stop, right? So that can be the case as well. Packing, in my opinion, right, because I'm not a certified teacher, and I won't be, right, because it's just not my thing, but I am a teacher, and I have taught lots of different kinds of art, not just hooking. My feeling is that however you're working, right, it's your way. And if you don't like it, if you work densely and you pack, if you work Toulouse-Lautrec and you've got a lot of holidays, if that's your natural way of hooking, or punching, you will keep working that way, unless there's no one else in the room, right? And you're just concentrating all the time. Now, that isn't the most fun environment to work in. I tend to work, ideally, not lately, when I'm watching the Hallmark movies, the Mystery Channel. No matter what I'm doing in terms of distraction, I'll tell you what, there are two kids whose faces are always near me. So it's like, here comes a face. Oh, there's a face behind me. There's another face in there. I love them. But that face wants food. That face wants to go for a ride or be dropped off somewhere. It's hard to concentrate. And when you keep reminding yourself, don't pack, don't pack, don't pack, it's very hard to do when there's anything else in your head between you and your thoughts, right? So people tend to work in whatever way they naturally work. If it's not a huge problem, think about whether you want to address it at all, right? So if someone looks at your work and says, oh, it's lovely, but it looks like you're packing. If you look at your work and you think, I can see what they mean, but I still like the way it looks, then we need to stop saying, with the exception of, we need to stop saying packing is a bad thing, right? Best practices, right? Try to do it right in the middle as often as possible, and then you find where you land. And it might be more toward loose, and it might be more toward packing. But if your backing isn't buckled, right, and dense and warped, or your backing isn't damaged because you've put too much into it, right, packing, then maybe you don't have problems, right? Don't get those voices out of your ears that are telling you that your stuff is wrong. I love Jill's attitude. It might be a little bit packed, but I like the way it looks dense. Great, right? You never have to say to anybody, you never have to justify to anybody, it might be this, it might be that, but I like it. That you don't even need the second sentence. You just leave it at, this is my thing and I like it. This is what it looks like. So I just love that sentiment. I think that's absolutely perfect. I love it too. Doesn't look packed to me. It looks energized. I love the different textures. It looks like it was fun and challenging to work with those different materials, and I absolutely love it. But you also sent some pictures of your punching. So you said, I also delivered these pillows on May 4th. Here are all four pillows in the mid-century modern home. So some friends have a mid-century modern home in their cocktail area. So Jill made these 4 cushions. These are 2 of the 4. They really fit with the mid-century style, don't they? The geometrics, the smooth slopes, super cute pillows. These are punched, right? Ryan, you're a puncher too. These are punched. Oh, these are what the backs of them look like. So good, right? So good. This is what they look like in the home. God, that's a good home, isn't it? Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that. Gosh, that's good. I'm looking at their stuff. Interesting. I love looking at other people's houses. Oh, that's a good chair, isn't it? Ooh, I like that yellow chair. I'm trying to think. That's not the egg. That's the other famous shaped chair of that era. Gosh, that's good, isn't it? Look at the stack of white. I'm also looking at the pillows. Look at the stack of white suitcases. It's all so cool. It all goes together great. These four pillows are really perfect. What a great gift. Jill, it must be people who you really like because this really is such a gift. So good. Olivia says, great pillows. Great job. And Lisa says, I have a cow piece I just finished punching and I realize I'm a packer. The only thing I will say about packing and punching together is that it is a little bit. You might be, Lisa, and if it's not a problem and it's not interfering with the way you work or the way your finished pieces look, then you don't need to give it too much energy or thought. With punching, it's a little bit different because when you punch and pack, right? If you're a puncher, you know what I'm about to say. When you punch and pack at the same time, and you punch too close to something you've already punched, because you're getting it in there. You see one little hole, search in the dog for ticks. Oh, there's one little hole there. I'm gonna punch that hole too. When you do that as a puncher, you tend to punch out the loops that are around it or near it. Hooking less likely. That happens less with hooking. With punching, it's very easy. You get too close. You're supposed to have the little channels in between, like a hair of a channel in between. But technically, if you are going great guns and things are coming out great and you're not having a lot of technical difficulties while you're punching, your pieces are coming out great. Maybe you're able to steam them, block them, frame them, use them as pillows on the floor, whatever you want, and it's all working out great, then don't give it too much thought, right? Because as soon as you start drilling in and obsessing about something, in the way that you work, that is a slippery slope, isn't it? If it's all going well, just let it be. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But with punching, it is a little bit more of a worry than it is with hooking. Perfect pillows, Joyce says, very cool decor. It was very cool decor. Kirsten says the pillows pull everything together. They were fantastic. Cecile, great to see you. Packers Anonymous group. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do it too. I do it with my hooking. I find it very hard to stop, like really hard to stop. Those pillows are so cute. I'm a packer. I'm a total packer. April says, but I don't mind it. But I don't mind it. I get it. At least until I go to bind it. That's an excellent rhyme. That would make a great Mercedes and James Hutchinson type rug, right? Wait a minute, where was that? Um, I'm a total packer, but I don't mind it, at least until I go to bind it. Oh, that's very good. That's yours. That copyright trademark right there. That's really good. I like that. Valerie says, I admire the super neat hooking, but it's not me. I love the British expression. Higgledy piggledy, me too. I think I leave holiday sometimes, but I can add later if I need to. Exactly. That's exactly what I feel too. If I look at my piece and I've been like really fast with it, like the cover piece I'm doing really fast right now, I am a packer, but I know there's holidays because I pulled everything out. Now I'm redoing it. Now I'm really in a time thing because I want to show the cover of the book so I can start selling tickets to the book event, right? So I really have to have something to show. So it's getting to be a bit stressful because I just paid for the room at the Red Lion where we can have our book party on October 20th. I really need to get the cover of the book done. I've gotten a ton of the interior images done, but I just remembered I also need a cover. So I'm moving really fast and I'm thinking the exact same thing. There's got to be holidays in there. But I figure if I'm not immediately seeing them, right, then maybe it's not an emergency. And if I do start checking the dog for ticks and finding little gaps, I can fill them in later. Who cares, right? Except that I'm out of that material, but different problems for different times. Melanie says, I'll join Cecile. Um, it would make a great rug. I like that expression a lot. That was really cute. All right, let's come over here. Ryan, you finished off this beautiful piece. We saw you starting this. You wrote, Hi, Deanna and all. Happy summer. I finished this piece last week. I haven't been punching in a while because I felt uninspired, but this rug was very soothing and fun to make. I'm sorry, Ryan. That does happen, doesn't it? You do feel uninspired sometimes. You've been working on other stuff, right? You've been doing a lot of going to concerts and stuff like that. Seasons for everything, right? We can't always be in it all the time. But this does look like it was soothing and fun to make. You call this music for sunsets. 12 by 12, that's your magic number. Inspired by Alma Thomas's paintings. Fantastic. All wool yarn with hand dyed by myself, except for the white, which is natural washed wool. This was the first time, I'm going to show you the details of the border. This was also my first time whip stitching a border. I think I did well, and I really, and it really pulled the piece together in the end. Yeah, let's look at all of this. The colors really are great. It is super mellow. I'm going to show you some close-ups of this too. You know, it's so great to do stuff with color blocking. It does have such a contemporary modern art feel. You know, I love Helen Frankenthaler. She's like one of my favorites of all time. Just blocks of color, slashes of color, lots of, I can't even say geometric because there's no sense of patterning, but just color. Also, for me, Annie Albers, the weaver. You know, for all of us, I think we have different people. If you like modern art at all, Alma Thomas, for Ryan, you know, we all have people that we think of, and maybe we love their color palettes or we love their patterning. This is a great piece of patterning, right? It seems like a simple piece, but color wise, it's got rhythm. I think your title, music for sunsets, is perfect because it is paced, right? It does have some pacing to it. You do feel there is a rhythm in it, and it does have a sort of musical or a harmony built into it because of the color palette. You know, harmony is not a word that is just there for people who talk about color. It's also there for people who talk about music and the visual arts. Harmony is when everything works together, right, in this magical way, and it ends up glowing and having this big question mark quality to it, like the je ne sais quoi piece of it. And you think, what is that? What's making it glow? If I do a piece that's white, purple, orange, white, rust, purple, rust, white, orange, rust, will my piece look like this? You know it's not going to. It might look great, but it won't be the same. You know, you do get with modernist pieces and with lots of color blocking, particularly something like this that has some variegated color within, right? That it is completely unique. You could send, you know, X amount of people the same kit and each one would be different and look different. And a piece like this makes me eat my words of 5 minutes ago because it makes me think you can get directional hooking with yarn, right? Because you're punching with yarn, Ryan, and you can see it better when your yarn is not solid. You have got variegated color, right? So it makes the stripies, but you've also got mottled color with the purple. And the color changes on its own in a less formulaic rhythm. You know, in contrast to the orange with the army green, it seems like I can kind of see the way that that was colored as opposed to the purple. And the brown has a lot of mixed colors in it too. So interesting, right? They each have a voice. It's almost like a bass line, you know, different parts of a song all working together and looking very relaxing, very soothing. I can absolutely see when you are just not feeling it, I can see how this would be the piece to go to. And when you look at it close up, and I know knitters will always understand this sentiment, you look at it close up and you can almost see. I bet if anybody ever did an experiment with a hooker or puncher, and maybe a little bit different for a puncher because you're looking at the back, but as you go and you see the little pop of color happen just there. Oh, I got a little bit of yellow. Oh, I got a little bit of bronze. Look at that. Brown, brown, brown. Oh, a little bit of white. I bet there is something that you could measure, like a lie detector kind of a thing, where your heart rate or your happiness jumps just a little bit because you see a slightly different color come out and you think, ooh, more mystery, more variety, right? It does something for your heart, for your energy, for your joy. It's healing, right? There is a reason why people have, you know, used hooking and punching and latch and rug making in general, textile arts in general, as therapy for soldiers coming out of wars, situations like that. It is relaxing and creative. This is a great example of that. And thanks for adding that you just weren't feeling inspired, right? Because we always put too much pressure on ourselves to be productivity machines, and sometimes you just ain't feeling it. And things that cannot be forced. You can square peg, circle, hole it, you know, to a certain extent. But think about substituting difficult pieces, pieces that are playing you, pieces that are challenging and making you angry. Think about putting them aside for something that is absolutely the exact opposite and see if you can get your mojo back, right? That's the only way to do it. I shouldn't say that. Some people will push through and will succeed. I can't relate to that, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, right? So, your whipping around the edge is absolutely beautiful. I'm guessing you whipped orange and then you were super careful to go around a second time with your purple. It has a rope look to it, and we're getting a better look at what your purple looks like. It really, really looks pretty. It came together so well. Shannon says, very creative binding. Ryan says, thank you, everyone. The colors are really what inspired this. And Alma Thomas, look up her paintings. They make me very happy. Everybody write that down, right? Because this is a great tip. It's great to be able to share tips like this. I love this piece, Ryan. I think this is really smart. I think the colors came out great. It sounds like it's just what you needed when you needed it. And with this piece that was very relaxing to do, and I'm sure very rewarding, you were happy enough with the way that it came out that you did a bit of an ambitious binding that you added extra bling to with that second layer of blue kind of roping, purple around the edge. So you bucked up enough at the end to do something really blingy with your border, and it came out looking absolutely gorgeous. Pam says, yes, hooking, punching, watercolor all give me that little thrill when I see those colors that marry with one another. Gail says, love your binding. So clever. So clever. Very, very nice. Very nice. Jessica, gosh, you always surprise us. Always. So much to say with all of your pieces. So Jessica wrote, this is a prayer rug and will be a gift for a friend of mine, also a fantastic rug hooker, when it is finished. Jessica, I hope it's okay. I put the picture that you sent that was finished, but not like the edges and stuff. I have that in here. I hope that's okay. Tell me now if it's not, and I won't show the third one. She is a newly single mom of 3 kids, and I've been thinking and praying for them a lot in the past couple of months. I drew this picture from a picture of a vacation we took together years ago in the Smoky Mountains, and I felt like a picture of God's guidance and protection. I strung the wool yarn for the rope bridge and needle felted. Okay, so wait a minute. Let's hold on that. Let me show you. Okay, thank you, Jessica. Let me show, because I know a lot of people were posting when I did the teaser for tonight, and I used this picture, and a lot of people were like, oh my God, I have to see what's next. So I just wanted to be sure that you weren't saving it for something. So let me read this part again. I strung the wool yarn for the rope bridge and needle felted it down. Oh man, I strung the rope yarn. That is so cool. I see what you mean. So for the white netted part, you just put the yarn down and you needle felted it into the background, into the backing, which looks like linen. And then you said, and then filled in the background, hit or miss style, with green and plaid wool stripes. Wow. Okay. I wondered because I went back here and I saw that it was not a colorful, colorful surroundings. And I thought, man, you went way out on a limb with these great colors. And you're saying here that what you did was a hit or miss style. And Jessica, thank you so much for being so forthcoming with how you did something that I have never seen before. I'm sure a lot of people have not seen this before. Thank you for saying how you did it, because it is very kind to share things that you figured out that came out this good. Because so many people would like to see their work be furthered or evolved in a way that they have more tricks in their bags of tricks too. And it's so nice when people like you share how you figured something out, particularly something like this that's so novel and amazing and looks versatile, also looks very accessible for anybody that wants to give it a try, right? This is a great idea. And the fact that you put hit or miss colors into that netting, into the sides of the bridge, you're saying green and plaid wool strips, that's really amazing. Because my thought looking at this, I was completely bamboozled and I had no idea what you did. As usual, it's like it's beyond my technical ability. So I look at it and I think, wow, that's magic. But you're telling us exactly how you did it. And when you do that, it feels so good, right? Because it gives you another thing to think about and dream about. If you wanted to do something like this, how do you add color, right? If you want it to be a really colorful composition, How do you add color when you're working with like a grassy color and ground color and then one color bridge, right? So it's great to see if you're not a person who does a lot with inspired color placement or using hit or miss, right? Very randomly. This is a good example of how it does work, right? It can make things colorful and it can remain cohesive. The thing that's keeping all of these colors under control, because there's a lot of them, is the net, right? The net is um, it's so perfect, like metaphorically, but also literally in this composition, because it's like the bridge is keeping the people safe. It's keeping the outside and the distance distant. So it is serving as a literal net, right? It is protection. So it's functioning as a metaphor. But this way that it's constructed technically, you have got your yarns in place, you have needle felted them down, you have done these fairly random color blocking techniques with hit or miss colors, the green and the plaids. And it is still the net that is keeping all of those colors under control. So great parallel to rug hooking. Just and I may be lucky. Maybe you foresaw that that would work well on many levels, but I just got it just now, and I just think this is just beautiful, moving piece. You wrote, "I will be hiding words in the mountains from my prayers for them, for courage and comfort in a difficult time, to maintain strong connections and make new ones." Oh, connection, courage, comfort. That is so fantastic. I'm just catching up on the comments for a second. Ryan says the colors and texture of the background coming through the rope link pattern. Wow. It is a huge wow. You know, I think what you did is so extra smart. You are so smart. Um, because I feel like if you had tried, it's an optical illusion, right? Looking at netting, because as it gets further away, it gets closer together, right? And then the eye sees it almost as a solid. In terms of hooking, unless we are talking about an enormous piece, that would be difficult slash impossible. But what you've done with laying out the yarn and then felting it down, you have forced single strands of yarn to lay exactly where you wanted them. And you understand, because you are a natural artist, you understand that the further back you go, the more highly they need to be concentrated, right? So you can see there's more of them in the distance. You were able to do that much more easily by laying them out and felting them than you ever would have been trying to hook or punch them. I think when we see these kinds of designs like netting, hooked or punched, it can look awkward fast, because it's hard to get the scale, the geometry, and the optical illusion just right with textiles. This is a great way around that, man. You got those lines in there perfectly. And then you were able to go back to your comfort zone, pick up your hook, do your hooking within, and it actually is probably really even cementing those lines even better. This is so brilliant. So I missed a couple of things. Kathy said, the railing of the bridge is satin stitch, gives weight and stability. Is that, or is that whipped? Did you put down a cord and whip around it, or did you put down something and satin stitch it? Did the stitches go all the way around the back, or are they just jumping top to bottom on the front? Just wondering. Just so we can define whether we have the language in place or not, whether, we just want to define what that stitch looks like on the back and how you did it. Because I'm thinking you might have done it, if you did it satin stitch, I guess the follow through thought is you did it with a needle. But if you did it over whipping, you could have still done it with a hook. It's jumping top to bottom. So not using, you're still using a hook, Jessica? So just jumping over the, are you just jumping top to bottom over it with your hook over like a cord that you laid down in a similar way? Um, Judy's saying alternately, Judy coming from embroidery and needle arts. Judy's saying padded satin, yes. But no, I used a yarn needle for that. So you used a yarn needle, you laid down like a piece of cording, something with more weight, and then taking the needle, right, the yarn in the needle, right, so not using a hook, taking the yarn and going up, down, covering, right, the cord. So jumping to needle for that, and it does give it again weight, um, importance. It brings our eye right to the vanishing point, right, which is going to be between the two railings. That is really smart. Yeah, so Judy, essentially she's using a needle. It would be like a padded satin stitch because the padding is the cording. It's great once in a while to talk technically about this stuff. I know doing stuff like this is not for everyone. I know it's not for me. Maybe someday it will be when I have a little more time. But but it is for a lot of people, and it is fun. It is fun to at least understand how it's done, right? Because you might find yourself at some juncture with your rug and think, yeah, I don't do stuff like this. I just stick with like, punching or hooking, and I don't deviate too much from what I know or try lots of new techniques. I'm happy the way I am. But it might be that sometime you are at a weird juncture and you're thinking, God, this isn't working. And you think, whoa, what if I needle felted something down? Or what if I laid on three-dimensional um, um, detailing, like cording, right? I'm thinking about, the word trapunto just went into my head and I got distracted. It's definitely not trapunto, but I was thinking about how that could work too. But it could be that sometime you're thinking, oh, I'd like to do some little extra bit of bling. It's good to have this stuff filed in the back of your head because why not? If someone's willing to tell you how they did it, right, and you don't have to pay for a class, they're just telling you how they did it, and your head goes, got it, I got it. That's great for you, right? That you take away that nugget and it is in your head for when you need it, right? And Jessica says, thank you, everyone. It was an experiment. I love trying new things. And yes, those were my thoughts. I'm so glad it communicated. You are so good. You are so good. You always have so many sort of metaphors and meaningful layers added to all of your pieces. You do such strong family work. I used cording and whip stitched around it for the railing. It's jumping top to bottom. No, I used yarn and a needle. Yes, you got it. And Olivia says, very clever 3D illusion. It is. Let's look at the finished one. Let me have a sip of my drink here. Mm, wow. I love this. I love this. I don't look at this stuff a lot before we go live because I want to look at it with you, so we can talk about it in the same time. I really like this. Now, Jessica, can you that at the end of the bridge there is something dark in the middle? Is that a metaphor or is that a tree like that's holding the bridge there? I'm just wondering if that's another part of the storytelling. I love how the words kind of you can read them easily in the sky, but I love how they become part of the sky. They are embedded in the air, right? They are there like a prayer, like a blessing, right? Like words that are just with you no matter what. They are there. April says, a beautiful piece of artwork with a beautiful message. God, this is just incredible. This is just incredible. Jessica says, it's a tree. And yes, I wanted that vertical connection. Yep. Because this has religious connotation too. So it's good to think, right? The eye is going to go up toward the heavens. That's a good association as well. It anchors the piece very, very well too. For me, it also, and I hope this doesn't deter because I think it's a huge positive, they're coming to a bridge and that is at the end of it. It does for me suggest a challenge or an obstacle, at least something of a speed bump besides having that great sort of vertical reference as well. There's so many ways to read it. Like with all of the stuff that you do, Jessica, your images are always like family and friend related. You always reference your own photography, and you go so far. It is a photograph exactly as we've seen it, but you do so much adding to it, and it's also thoughtful and sincere and heart on the sleeve. And you end up with these pieces that are just loaded with meaning and symbolism and all of that, plus just being incredibly strong technical pieces with great technical prowess, but also super intuitive balance, color planning. I mean, you do everything really well. From all of these new techniques that you're playing with, Kirsten is saying the light, the sunset, and the sky is so beautiful. It's a beautiful touch, right? To just the coloration, the color changes on the girl's hair in the pink, right? Even so, a little touch like that is just so masterful. Jessica says, definitely. And I wanted the sun peeking through the clouds because there's hope. But there's still that obstacle there. Yeah, that is great symbolism. It's great to be able to, it is also such a gift to be able to have the person on whose piece this is. Because if my mouth runs and says what I see when I look at it, that means nothing, right? In terms of intention, that means nothing. But I could look at that piece and not know who the artist is at all, or be in a museum and be looking at a piece and not know who the artist is at all. And then I layer my own interpretation onto it. And that can be very therapeutic and helpful for us, right? Hence the merits of going to museums and historical societies and looking at other people's work, old and new. Jessica, this is just amazing. It's just amazing. I absolutely love it. And this is maybe a good time to say this because I said this before. Hold on one second. When are one of those children's faces going to appear at the top of the stairs and say, Mom, do you need anything like a glass of water? No, that never is going to happen, is it? Maybe in 10 years it's going to happen because I'm thirsty already. I was just going to say, we've said this before and I want to say this again. Right in the middle of the show, right? I'm working on this book, The Haunted Rug, and I'm loving it. And if you want anything to do with that and you don't know about it, send me an email to ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. It's an all Halloween book. So I know that's not for everybody, but if you're a big Halloween/harvest type autumn person, please send me a note because I have lots of patterns that still need doing. Along those lines, I have said before, there are a bunch of us, and some of us who are watching tonight, who have a book in them and who would love to work on a book project, but maybe you don't know where to start. And I said this before, we should put together a group of people who have a book project in mind, and whatever timeline between now and death, right, which I hope is very far away for all of us. No timeline, but maybe you have a book in you and you're thinking, yeah, I've been working in such a style that I feel like I've got some ideas, and I would love to have a book project of my own to work on. I'm not on the fast track or got some crazy speed trajectory going, but I would like to do that. I feel like we should form a book club for people who are working on book projects and log on like once every frequently, even if it's just for me. I mean, I don't have to be on every call the whole time. I would be on every call, but not the whole time, if I'm busy with my stuff too. But I mean, I think it'd be so beneficial to anybody who's thinking about putting stuff together, even if you're thinking, I have another 15 years to work on stuff before I put like a rug making or textile book together. But it might be fun to have a club where we bounce ideas off each other and we trust each other. I don't mean to just not steal each other's ideas, which goes without being said. Obviously, I trust everybody who would be watching this show on a Friday night, right? I automatically trust you. We're all the same. We're all the same person, I think. But I think it'd just be a great exercise for us to be able to sit and say, okay, so what are you thinking? And sometimes it's great to have someone else say, well, this is really great. This makes a lot of sense. Kirsten, I wasn't going to say you because I didn't know if you wanted me to say your name. But Kirsten's definitely one of those people. Jessica's definitely one of those people. Sometimes it's great to have someone say, well, listen, you've done so much work and you've done so much designing, you've done so much storytelling. In my mind, it makes sense if you would break your book idea into this chapters this way or not chapters and do it this way. And it could be a really great thing for us to talk to each other, listen to each other, and ongoing as we work. Try to put more book projects together because you know what there's not enough of out there? Books on rug hooking. There's not enough. Rug Hooking Magazine is they're doing their dangdest, I'm sure, but there's just not enough books on rug hooking out there. And aren't you excited when you find one that you haven't seen before, or when Ampry Press publishes something that is right up your alley that you haven't seen before, and you think, oh God, this is the book I've been waiting for. There's not enough of it. So this is something I'm super, super busy, but this is such a worthy project. I think we should definitely do this. So more on that, and definitely send me an email to ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com if you're thinking, oh, that could definitely be me. I feel like that's something I would love to work on. I would love to work on it with you. Now, next entry comes in, Jessica, thank you so much, from my buddy Michelle Holler. Holler for $1. Happily having coffee and knitting this midweek at our local cafe slash independent local bookshop. So cozy, so fun. The conversations are energized with caffeine, travel ideas, making, and purpose. Oh, that sounds so good, doesn't it? So good. Such a sweet blessing in my little life. Finishing up arm warmers, knit, and hand spun with our sheep, Eleven's fleece. That's the name, 11. Eleven's fleece for my upcoming trip to New England in the fall. She's coming to the book launch. Thank you all for inspiring me. And Michelle put in lots of hearts and happy faces and sweet emojis. And this is just, I love this. This is a great moment in life, right? We all work on different things at different times. Usually, if I'm sitting somewhere, I've got my notebook out, I'm working on sketches, Michelle's working on knitting, eavesdropping on conversations, soaking in the caffeine and the great energy, figuring out what other people are working on. One of the great things about when you hit a wall with your projects or with your moods, or whether you're feeling depressed, or however it's going, it is one of the things that you can always do, if you can bring yourself to do it, is to go somewhere out in public, whether it's a coffee shop, or for me it's always hotel bars where people are coming and going. It's particularly crazy conversations, and I always am interested. But to go somewhere where you can sit and listen, because sometimes when you're not feeling inspired or energized yourself, just the speed of life around you, right? The more sluggish and stalled you feel, when you put yourself somewhere where the speed of life is happening around you, it's not a guarantee. Nothing is a guarantee, but it can give you energy, right? And give you some new thoughts. And it's something that you can do by yourself, without a doctor, without pills, without anything. Not that I'm against any of those things, but it is a great idea to just sit somewhere other than the living room sometimes and listen and soak in whatever. You can get some great ideas that maybe wouldn't be there 15 minutes later. So that's a fun, inspiring slide. I really like that, Michelle. That is fun. Linda Schultes Hoffman. Oh man, you've been slaying me lately with this goodness. Hello and welcome back. My latest rug is Cock and Bull, 27 by 32 on burlap. Absolutely beautiful. Love the folky cubist style. You are going so straight into your niche. I see a book on the horizon. You know, Linda's style has been evolving all along, and it's not like it wasn't great before. It always was great. It's like we were talking about in the group of seven class too. Wherever you are with your interest, with your thought, where your head is color wise, Linda always likes the brights, and Linda always likes the thrifting quality. So you can see the road is like a under the bull, right? It is like a tweedy fabric. It's not a solid, right? There's a lot of color substitutions. And when you are working with thrifty material, you often run out, and then you've got to use something that's close, and your rug ends up having that great antique quality to it that is so exciting. But Linda, your pieces lately have been they've been more contemporary and sort of fractured in composition, and I absolutely love that. The city scenes that you sent, I think for the last Friday night, um, fit in terms of style with this as well. I just love this piece. I love the breakdown of this piece. It's a great piece of folk art. It's a great piece of storytelling. It is full of contrast. There's great the cock and the bull, huge contrast, right? Unlikely bedfellows or friends. They are just unlikely. It's a funny match. The eyes not matching. All of the different colors that have been see you're so good at this. This is a variety of hit or miss. It's not exactly hit or miss, is it? Because it's very blue heavy. But there are moments where you have gone to other colors, and you have been very deliberate about where you have put those colors, like the ear, like the nose, like the tip of the tail where the little hairs are coming out. I love that cubist breakdown. It's not really cubist, it's more modern art than cubist, right? Because nothing is overlapping of the body itself. It's smart. It's really smart. Where you've outlined, it is, Valerie says, how fun. It's bright and it's happy. It really is. You say this is, Linda says, This is yarn and stretch jersey from an old favorite shirt I'd recently heard someone say something was a cock and bull story, and that was all I needed for inspiration, right? See what I mean? You could be sitting at a cafe having a coffee and someone talks about a cock and bull story and you go, that's it, I'm going home. I heard you call out for volunteers. Okay, we already connected on that, thank goodness, and I think I've already sent the thing out, so that is really good. Yeah, I just love this piece. I really love this piece. It is so smart. If you were in the group of seven class the other night, to remember one of the great group of seven tricks that is really specifically a group of seven, having a band of very dark in the distance for scale, for perspective, right? Because folk art pieces typically don't have any perspective and there's no sense of distance, and that's the point. But the group of seven, even in the very flat style that they worked, not realistic at all, they often do this device where you have just a hint of a dark line that runs in the background. So your eye says, whether you notice it or not, your eye says, well, that's close, and that's close. Well, that's a little further and further, and then the thing that's the darkest and is the furthest away. And your eye knows that, like intellectually, whether you're going, oh, I see what they've done here, or not, your eye knows it. So it really helps a piece along, particularly a piece like that, this that's a simple composition. It gives it so much more oomph when we've got our two subjects right here. And it is funny, and it is a great joke. It's a great play on words. It's perfectly executed. But then we have this landscape, right, that has these little tweaks to it that are still interesting and academic. And I think you're doing this naturally because you are a natural artist as well. Maybe you're doing it because you read a lot about art history and critical essays on art. Maybe that's why you do this. But you do a lot of things, Linda, that are so smart, and you pull from many different schools of art. And I think it's never a bad thing to be um, constantly looking and reading about art, particularly schools of art that you aren't interested in. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but if all you did was love the Impressionists and read more about the Impressionists, you're gonna it's happy times, but it's not necessarily going to get you from point A to point B with the evolution of what you're doing with your craft. It depends on how ambitious you feel or if you care that your art grows in any direction, right? But if you do, it is good to step out of your comfort zone, not just for a split second, but for a long time. It's like sitting in a sauna and thinking, man, this is hot. God, this is uncomfortable. There's a lot of people around here who are half naked. I could do without this. But then you're thinking, oh, I wonder if I'm like losing some weight. I'm sweating off my lunch or something. You know, Sometimes it's good to be uncomfortable, right? And that's how we grow. Is when we make ourselves uncomfortable or do something we don't really want to do, and you're able to sustain it, right? You don't just do it and go, whoo, I'm out, right? You jump into the water, one of those polar bear things, whoo, I'm out. That was good. Whoop, done with that. Rinse off. When you stay there for a little while, checking out art styles that maybe you don't know, or you're thinking, I don't like modern art. I don't think surrealism has anything for me, right? I don't think pop art has anything for me. I mean, I always thought that too, because I'm not a fan of like contemporary music, contemporary anything. But the more you sit in places that you don't know, coffee shop, museum, whatever, the more things that you notice and absorb, right? And if you just do the whirlwind carousel tour, you don't get too much out of anything. But yeah, it's interesting. I look at all of your stuff, and I do have. I'm complimenting myself, but I do have a good memory for what you all do and what you all send in, and I pay attention because it means something to me. And I think about it, and I think, oh, interesting. I wonder why she's going in this direction with this. It's very different than this. And I think about the road and where it started and where it's going, and it's all interesting, right? It's very good to stretch. Lindy, you started this things that I saw first. Your Halloween things will always be my favorite because they're Halloween. But you were real colorful. You were real folky, and you're becoming more and more um, artistic. You know what I mean? Like, not that folk art isn't art. Obviously, it's my favorite kind of art. But you're becoming very, very artistic, and it makes me wonder, where are we going with this? I can't see where you're going at all. It all is exciting to me, and I'm so happy every time you send anything. I'm so happy that you're working on a piece for the Halloween book, because everything you do, it really surprises me, and in a very good way. Just love it. Let's see. Hang on. Karen, you sent some beautiful stuff too. You finished this amazing sampler piece. Now, so you sent two different sets of stuff. So let's hang on for a second. This one referred, okay, so this is the class that was called Winter Wonder and was taught by Linda Marchbank. This particular class was created to teach different stitches as well as to learn how to hook with different fibers and how those fibers transform a piece with texture. So this is something that you did this at the Nova Scotia Rug Hooking School. So this is an update. We saw the beginning of this, right when you came home. We saw the beginning of this. This is 19 by 27, a mat that you completed from the Nova Scotia Rug Cooking School, and you have since blocked it. And again, this is a class that was called Winter Wonder by Linda Marchbank. This is so amazing. And Kaz, you're right. Kaz says, I love this sampler. I want to know how to do those stitches. It is really, really. Let me stretch it open a little bit so you can see what I mean. It is fantastic. Karen, it was a class about stitches, wasn't it? It was a class about how to do all of these different effects. They all have names, right? Some of the pile is clipped. Some of it is straight up hooked. There are different fibers in there. I think there's sari silk in there. There are different stitches in there that are done with a hook. So for example, where you see what looks like a shaker knit sweater, right? That toppermost hillside that's like the snowy white. That I think that's still using a hook, or at least that can be done with a hook. So this is all interesting because it brings up questions about when you are someone who does like a lot of sort of multimedia effects, a sampler effect. You should have a needle handy, but you also can do a lot with a hook, right? And that's obviously what this class with Linda Marchbank was about. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm loving the almost Waldeboro looking sections, I'm sorry, that are clipped. I love that it is a very mono or duo chromatic. Tonally, it's very even and same piece, right? And so challenging. So challenging, but scrolling down it, there's a lot to look at. It is beautifully done. And Karen, it came out so well. Lots of different textures, lots of different colors. Let me make it a little bit smaller again. Sometimes when we're laying our stuff out to play with, um, we forget, I know I do, how one color, even white, right, can have so much variety. And when you start taking all of your stuff out, let me make it a little bit better. Um, when you start taking all your stuff out and putting it together, you realize you've got some wool, you've got some yarn, you've got sari fabric, you've got other fabric materials. Maybe you do velvet or chiffon or taffeta or netting or blue jeans or garbage bags or whatever. And you lay it all out color-wise, and sometimes it is incredible how many of one color you have and what the gamut is in terms of all of the different colors and all of the different tones of color. Karen says many folks chose to do the cool colors, but you chose to do the warm. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm really glad that you chose to do the warm. Not that I don't think the cool ones are beautiful, but we do see a lot of hillsides and snowy scenes that lean on periwinkle, lilac, blue bonnet, all of those blue purples and blue grays. And I'm guessing that was more the color palette for, I don't know, I'm just guessing for the cool snowy palette. So it's interesting that you did this one because I would think that there were people who were thinking in the class, why choose for a snow scene, why choose the warm palette? It's going to look like someone peed all over the snow. And I'm very glad that you didn't have that thought and that you could rise above that kind of instinctive yellow snow thing, because you can see that it becomes the very definition, right, of variety of the color white. And even though we are leaning toward warm, it still reads as a white sampler. There's no question about that. Kirsten says the warm colors give it a sunrise, sunset, oh, I feel a song coming on, moment when the light filtered through the clouds above, but tints the light below the clouds. That is very waxing very poetical there. That is excellently said. Judy Phillips says, good choice, Karen. Where I live, this is much more what the landscape looks like in winter, muted browns and beiges. Yeah, me too. I mean, I think of when you see like the muted, and I love color substitution, right? More group of seven talk. But, when I see a landscape, I tend to think of purples. When purples replace white, it brings me to like Maxfield Parrish, the artist. You know what I mean? Karen says, in the Rocky Mountains, the warm colors show up first. And Pam says, you chose the right values, and it definitely reads as snow. Absolutely. It's such a tricky piece, and you make it look easy, but you're technically so good. It's absolutely beautiful, Karen. You hit it out of the park. It is a fantastic piece, and I'm really glad that we're able to see it finished because we just saw like half of it last time, and it's really pretty. While you were up there, you were doing some sightseeing, of course, and you saw some Grenfell rugs. And this came up the other day when we were looking at the book about Mount Desert Island. Um, on coffee time, I think last Monday and Wednesday or something like that. And you said, "Ooh, I had just taken a bunch of pictures of Grenfell rugs up in Nova Scotia," and I said, "Please send them because we can look at them on cocktail night." We can never talk about Grenfell rugs enough, and I'm so extra glad that you sent these. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me say before I move too far on, um, the stitches I used in this piece were sculpting, right? So the clipped parts, the chain, right? That's the one that looked like it had the stitch coming out of the middle, like a daisy stitch for embroiderers. The seed, the turkey. Now the turkey must be like the tracks, right? Um, the ridge, I don't know what that is at all, as well as the tunneling stitch. Um, is the tunneling stitch the one that does like the basket weave, or is it okay to ask that? The fibers I used were wool roving, and sari silk. So really interesting, really interesting, really beautiful. I would love to do a class like that too. There is a class like that at Tigger, coming up the last days of October and the first days of, last days of September, first days of October in Niagara Falls, the Canadian side, coming up this coming year, Tigger 2024. And there was a class. I don't know if it was Linda. I ended up not signing up for it. I know I anticipate being busy during that time, and I signed up for two other classes. Now I'm thinking, I think it was a conflict for me because I was also really interested in learning some of those stitches. I don't know that stuff at all. And it's interesting to learn it so you can do it, but it's also interesting in my mind to learn it so you know what it's called, you know what the language is, because I'm always less these days. I'm always careful about when people who are even my friends um, like learn something that is a bit of a trade secret, because while I'm not into trade secrets and I share, I know that people know that I share, and maybe don't want to tell me what they did, right? Because it's a secret. So while that can be frustrating for me, and I try to sort of circumvent and find out as much as I can, I always want us to ask direct questions of people when I see something that I don't know how it was done. I have enough class, just enough to at least be thoughtful and careful about asking so that people don't feel like they're put on the spot, you know. But I am always curious, and yeah, I'm always curious. But if you have some great secret about something you do with rug cooking, please don't tell me because I'll totally say it here on the show. I absolutely will because I feel like this stuff should be shared. I get that people need to have some intellectual property to keep giving classes and teaching and have whatever, um, you know, in reserve. Um, but I don't, right? I just keep going and hoping I have another good idea tomorrow. So don't tell me any of your secrets because they won't be good with me at all. Grady says, so interesting to look at. It really was, right? And Crescent Moon Pie, does anyone else have trouble with the volume on this channel? Oh no, do you? I have all the speakers maxed out and I have to strain. Oh no. That's interesting. I mean, I'm guessing nobody else has said anything about volume, and my volume is up to where it's almost in the uncomfortable zone, so I don't want to push it further. Um, does anybody have anything to say about that, or has anybody figured that out? Because I know what you mean. I have that problem with certain headphones and my phone, getting the volume high enough. So I'm wondering about that. Um, you know what it could be, and I don't know, but you know what it could be? What I have figured out, things like that are like with my phone and with the car, is sometimes, I'm sure you know this, right? And this is going to be stupid because I'm sure you're beyond this. But sometimes I don't realize that the sound is being controlled by a different device. Like I've got it hooked to a Bluetooth something, and the volume on the other device is down. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you have anything like that going on, but that happens to me a lot. And I'll go, oh, dang it, I'm using like the jam jar thing, which is a Bluetooth device, and the volume is down. So this is why I can't hear my story when I'm listening to Audible, you know? Just an idea, because I don't have a lot of technical ideas. Sorry about that. And I want you to be here, so I hope that we can figure it out. Okay. Linda Marchbank is totally open to sharing. That's great to know. Karen, that's great to know. Um, April, I have an external speaker. Okay, so April says I have an external speaker because my monitor isn't that loud. That can totally happen too. That happens for me when I'm using my laptop, and I don't do a lot on my laptop like watch shows and stuff anymore, because for me it is also a problem. It's on full volume when I'm like watching documentaries and stuff off YouTube, and I also need to like um, pair the Bluetooth thing, and yeah, sometimes it just is not worth it. But that definitely could be it. Hopefully, it is worth it with us. Jessica says on my phone it can be soft and it helps when I listen on a better speaker. So maybe it is just a stupid speaker thing. But one thing I do know is a speaker doesn't have to be insanely expensive for it to be loud. Um, especially for something that's dialogue. We're not like listening to, music with a heavy bass line. Boo, boo, boo. Like, so it doesn't, the quality probably doesn't matter as much as just the volume, right? Oh, you're watching on the TV, Goretti. Man, that's high tech. How are you doing that? Phone is max. Interesting. See, this was a great question. I never think about stuff like this. All right, I'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, let's keep an eye on that. Those are great answers. So, we got talking about, Grenfell rugs, and so Karen was recently up there at the Rug Cooking Museum, right, of North America. And is that, Karen? Is that where these rugs are? Because some of these are such gems. I am so used to seeing Grenfell rugs all over the place, antique stores, often, eBay, often, but they are almost always faded to the point of oblivion. These are impeccable. I mean, have you ever seen, once in a while you see Grenfell rugs that are number one, an unusual subject, number two, incredible colors. These are both. Like I have never seen, I've seen the puffin, I've seen the one on the bottom right. I've never seen that kind of lean-to house. I've never seen that on the bottom, and I've never seen the church. In fact, I can't think of a lot of Grenfell subjects like the church, where you're seeing like you're seeing perspective. Like there's a road lead. The vanishing point is the church, right? There's a horizon. The vanishing point is the building. You don't see a lot of that in Grenfell because Grenfell rugs tend to be very flat and graphic and folky. This one is very interactive and three-dimensional. You can easily see yourself walking up that road to the church, right? So that's really unusual for a Grenfell rug. All of these ones that you sent pictures of, Karen, and a picture of Grenfell, he's more handsome than I thought. I have to, who cares, right? If it figures my low mind would go to that. But it's like, unexpected. Um, this is a beauty too. Because this, I would love to see this one close up, the nautical scene. They never grab me, but this one grabs me a little bit because it looks like there's a lot going on with the hooking that I can't make out. The shadows look like they're done either with hit or miss contrast, dark light, dark light. But it looks like there's some directional hooking on the ice flows. Like, and maybe it's just an optical illusion, but it looks like there's some top to bottom vertical hooking as opposed to side, because I mean, I always equate Grenfell hooking with absolutely every time side to side hooking like a typewriter. Boop, 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 ding, boop, 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 return, right? But some of this looks top to bottom for me, which is really, again, unexpected. I guess there's a reason why these rugs are hanging there. They're really different. I like the little scene at like whatever that is, a trading post or something. Maybe not a trading post. I thought maybe it's hard. Maybe that's a window. I thought, I'm such a jerk. I thought that was like a skin or something. That's probably a window with a curtain inside, maybe. Cute little scene. In any case, I don't recognize it. It's new to me, and it's really beautiful. That the color palette when they're not faded, I have to say, you see a lot of the browns when they're faded, and I assumed that they were faded blacks for the most part, like the color black. But with all of this brown, I'm thinking this is panty. I mean, they are pantyhose, right? This is lots of colors of pantyhose that we're seeing. How interesting is that? Lots of different browns. I bet a lot of these are not even dyed at all. Interesting, right? Melanie, I really liked the church too. I like all of these. They're really different. Karen, thank you so much for sending these. The dog sled we see a lot. Look at the one below the dog sled. Like we're seeing the horse pulling whatever you call that kind of a sled. Look at the amount of trees in this one. And again, instead of seeing a house like from the side, we're seeing a little bit more of it. There's more storytelling going on here. It's just different compositions, really different compositions. So this was a real wake up call for me. I'm going to have to get my Grenfell books out again and look through them again because I think I kind of pigeonholed Grenfell, certain subjects, always the same style. These rugs for me really break the mold. So thank you so much for taking the time to send those. They are really beautiful and I really love looking at them. Let me take a quick sip. Judy, you read that as a skin too. Good. I thought afterward maybe it's stained glass or something. Maybe I'm being a super ding dong. Shannon, I love this piece. It looks like you're doing the finishing touches on this. Shannon, I wanted to hook something for the Magpie Summer Magic, and at the last minute, this just came to me. I was scheduled to fly to Texas for a couple of weeks, and took this with me to finish by the something date. That's the deadline date, right? It's a little typo, but I think that's what you mean. I pulled it out and was stuck on the sidebars with the shrimp. Oh no, you were stuck with it? Oh no. I tried other things and my daughter said it wasn't looking right either. So I put it back in the suitcase. I pulled it out a couple of weeks ago and got some more pinions. Oh no, Shannon, I didn't know this was going on. Got some more pinions on the rug and just decided to finish it so I could move on. It is called Shrimp Boat Parade. Shrimp boat is a comin', it's a comin', Isn't that a song? I feel like my mother sings that song. It is called Shrimp Boat Parade. We lived in Biloxi, Mississippi, and loved seeing the shrimp boats parade parade in quotes, back into the bay for incoming hurricanes. Gave it a patriotic feel for summer magic. Requesting more feedback on the side borders. You can see I did each side a bit different. What can I improve, change, or remove? Remove side shrimp or even the borders altogether? Question mark. P.S. My shrimp look like many things. So if anything, it's a rug to have a good laugh at. LOL. You stop it. You stop it. It is not a good rug to have a laugh at all. This is a great subject. This reminds me of your Thanksgiving in Japan. I love how you do subjects from your life and your military life and all of that travel. I love how you work that into rug designs and original rug designs at that. I have to say, normally when I see fireworks in a rug, I think, man, I see what you're doing, but that didn't really work. I feel that this really worked. You did a really good job. This is a very decorative piece. So let's talk about it. It is a beautiful memory. Oh, Dawn, good to see you. Oh, Crescent Moon Pie said that's called a sledge. Okay, that the horse is pulling. Okay, excellent, sledge. I have to put that one in my brain. I know that word. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I guess I don't know the distinction between a sled and a sledge. That's interesting. That's something I'm gonna have to figure out though. That's gonna drive me nuts. So at 3:14. I love this piece. Things I love: the fireworks. Things I love: the memory and the subject, the parade of boats. I love multiples. I love compositions with multiples. This one has 3 sets of multiples: fireworks, boats, and shrimp. I have to say, I love the shrimp. I don't know if anyone has any feedback about the shrimp. I get what you're saying. It is hard to work shrimp into it, but I have to say, when I'm looking at the style of boat, I'm looking at the mechanics of the back of the boat. I'm looking at the big net that seems to be filled with small things. My brain, even as a person who is not super knowledgeable about water and fishing and boats, I think I would know. I would recognize at least from the movie Forrest Gump that these were shrimp boats, and the border's definitely helping me say, okay, yeah, no, it's totally shrimp. I get what you're saying. I think that the thing that is making you unhappy with the shrimp might be that the fireworks are colorful, the boats are colorful, and the shrimp are colorful. And the shrimp that are shrimp colored to me are the most literal. And the, really looking at the peach colored shrimp, the shrimp colored shrimp, that's what immediately made me think shrimp. So I did think shrimp. For myself, I personally like the dark outline a million times better, and I don't like the white border on the right hand side. So for me, I don't like the white outline because I think it refers too much to the white fireworks. I like the black outlining because I like it referring to the Black Knight or no outlining, but I don't like the white bar. I think it looks too it breaks things up for me too much. It's a great composition, almost cut in half horizontally. I would keep the border of shrimp. In fact, I would be tempted to put um, at least a third, if not a fourth border on. It might help on the corners to have the shrimp wrapping around the corner. I would be tempted to put, but then maybe not because the shrimp would come above the fireworks, which in terms of storytelling doesn't make a lot of literal sense, does it? I don't know. Definitely keep the border. Definitely keep the border. Um, I'm wondering if you could, let me think this through. I'm thinking it through. Jessica says, I like the dark outline and maybe a different color than red for the border. Interesting. Interesting. One of the things I'm thinking, Shannon, you hook in every style, right? This is on the folky side for you. This is real primitive style for you. I mean, I know you do wide cut a lot. Um, I like the style. I feel that I'm looking at a primitive painting in the center, and I like seeing the border with the primitive shrimp in it. It might be that it might be too matchy matchy. So it's like the two are balanced, yellow to green, and then shrimp to shrimp, and then green to yellow. It might be that they're a bit too balanced. I don't know. Um, I honestly don't know because I feel they fit into the story, and I wouldn't want to see them go. I might need more time to think on it. I'm gonna think on it. Um, I think the thing is, for in my head, the fireworks are really well placed. It's like the finale, and the sky is on fire, and they are sort of random and not. They're not patterned. They're not predictably spaced. So it's interesting. And the boats are not predictably spaced. They are, some are cut off and they're not like matchy matchy. But the shrimp are predictably spaced. So in a way, it gives a bit of strength and stability to the composition, but at the same time that it might be throwing me a hair just because everything else is a bit more random. I don't know. I think we're in agreement here. There's a lot of people liking the darker outline. The white outline, I think, is making them hard to read because it's making them bigger. The black outline is really containing the shape of them, and we're seeing maybe if you did. Sorry, I'm still thinking. I like the shrimp colored shrimp, but and I have to say I do like the red border. But maybe if you did different colors than the green and the yellow, maybe if you did one shrimp that was like tomato red and one shrimp that was coral red, so they were like three different shades of shrimp that were still kind of realistic colors of shrimp. And could you, with your black outlining, do that kind of articulation, like where their little shell armor lines are, and then I know they're small, but like, could you do a tiny thing on the tail and give them the lines to their body? Because I think that would seal the deal. And if you're outlining in black without being ridiculous, I would get rid of the white. I'm only looking at the right border now. I would get rid of the white. I like the red border. I would even make it go out maybe a hair more, one more row on the right for the red. and I would try to I would do more shrimpy colors universally. I do like the green and the yellow, but for the shrimp, I'd like to see more natural colors because the shrimp's shape is hard to read. And maybe if you really like the lime and the yellow, which I do because it pulls from the center, maybe just do single borders around in the yellow and the green, just yellow, green, and red, something like that, as a final border, or maybe just on the top and bottom, right? Do stop where you are with the red, but just right across the whole thing, top and bottom. Maybe do like checkerboard or something. Um, that's the greens and the shrimp colors and the yellow, because I know you're trying to bring in the colors from the center, and I think that's a smart idea. But I would keep the black. I would add the kind of scaly armor. I would add a little bit of the fan, and I might even add with the black some of those little legs. Like how their back curves, like the little scoliosis backs, and then on the interior, the inlet side, they've got all those little legs. Just one, if there's room for like one or two little legs in silhouette, I think you'll be home free, because you're there, and really the color isn't bothering me that much. What's bothering me the most is the white stripe, and the white outlining. I think is making them too puffy, and then I can't really tell that they're shrimp. But I think this is a great piece, and you are like one breath away from perfection. So, and I'm sad that you missed the Midsummer Magic. I wish I hadn't been so busy during that time, because we didn't talk about this, and I wish that you would have talked about it with me, because we're good at brainstorming together. Y'all can always approach, always feel like you can approach and say, like, listen, I'm having a struggle. I'm doing this right now. Gallery night's a million miles away. Can you give me some input? I swear to you, if I have time, I will. If I have one foot on a banana peel and the other on a breakdown, I won't. And I'll just say, I'm going out of my mind right now. I just peed in my pants and I'm losing it. If it's not that, I'll say, okay, let me concentrate on this for 5 minutes, and I can give you some really solid feedback, I think. And then you can take it or leave it, right? But you always feel free to do that. And April said, I think maybe ask yourself what you want to be the main focus of the piece. Yep, you can always do that. I like it being a medley too. I feel like it is fairly cohesive, and I like it when the border references the theme. So I do like the shrimp in the border, and I do like the silliness of like the dancing shrimp in the border. That is fun. Um, Allie, on the shrimp and maybe the some pink color. Yeah, I think pinks and corals for the shrimp is good. Maybe not tomato red because it's too like the red, but pinks and corals. That sounds very good. That sounds very good. And I think if you do that, you can keep the spacing the way that it is, because it does look like a swirly. Now that I said that, yeah, I don't want you to pull the whole thing out. No, no, I would stick with the three and maybe just change the colors. Hold on. I want to catch up on these comments. Shannon says, I'll give it a shot. It's crazy how one color will change everything. I'm still learning. Well, you're so good at color, though, and you like a lot of color. And this is a celebratory summer piece, right? Tanya says, maybe a DK blue U-shaped border from the level of the water uh, uh, on the left down across the bottom and then up to the water level on the right, and have shrimp with a black border within that border. Ooh, interesting. Ooh, interesting. Ooh, that is completely Tanya. That's interesting. That's a completely different idea. I like that too. Jessica says, I really love the main picture. I like Deanna's idea of the shrimpy color change. That would really help. Yeah, I think that would really help. The thing that makes me sad about that is I think there's a reason you put the lemon, yellow, and the green in there, and I think it was a good reason. And again, you're reiterating the colors on the boats, and I don't really want to see that lost, because I feel like you got a really cohesive color thing going, and I do want to see those colors carried out to the border. But I think it does make sense to either do a couple of final runs around with those brighter colors, or just a top and bottom border with those colors, so you do get those two colors in, but maybe they can't be the shrimp bodies because they become a little bit confusing. But I would like to see those colors finishing off the final piece. So I'd hate to see you pull them out and not put them in somewhere else, because I feel like they really are colorful, and it does have amazing summer vibe. Judy says maybe it's because I don't like seafood, but I find that it's too much if you have to tell the viewer that they're shrimp boats. Well, you know, I get that point, but with folk art, there is a level of storytelling that is more explicit than with other forms of art. We are used to seeing in folk art pieces, whether they're textile or not, we are used to seeing references within references and meaning or motifs that are carried throughout the piece. And particularly in rug hooking, we're used to seeing motifs carried into borders. Like that's like that's our backbone. That's like the staple. So that part I like. It's all personal taste, that kind of thing, but it's all personal taste. I wouldn't be 100% sure about the shrimp boats without the shrimp. And since it's not meant to be a realistic piece, I think that the shrimp are helping. Um, and I think the fact that you were trying to put colors in it makes a lot of sense too. This is an easy fix though, Shannon. This is not that it is like fatally flawed. It's not. I think you've got another 2 hours in this, really. And if you add more border, then a little bit more. But I would not take anything out of the center. I wouldn't. I would just take out the whites. As I say, I would take all of the whites out of the border, and I would just take as a fine black out. You've got a finer black in the border, like you're outlining with a fairly fine cut, as opposed to, like for example, the white strip. So I would keep your black fine, whether you're using yarn or strips. And I would get a little bit more detail into the shrimp. Just a little bit. Not so much that it's like cartoony and more confusing. Just a little bit. But I think it's fun. I really think it's fun. And I really like it. And I hope that that helped. It's fun to look at pieces together. And I really hope that that helped. Kaz, this is a gorgeous piece. Wait a minute. Where are we here? Kaz, hi Deanna. I took a workshop at Pine Island Primitives in Lake City, Minnesota in May. Sally Kalin was our instructor. I learned using primitive colors and using wide cuts. I hand tore the wool. I really like the squishy feel of the rug. This pattern is called Dudley. It's Sally's design, an adaptation by Carol Weatherman. It's absolutely beautiful. It is a beautiful walking horse, some great horizontal pull. You gotta love a horse that is not a horse color, right? I always do. It is fun to see different colors worked into the body of horse. We are not going for realism, full blast folk art. I love these big, wide, torn pieces. Kaz, you must be working in linen, right? It looks like a fairly tight woven, and I'm wondering what the difficulty level is with making this work. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. This is wide. That's what I mean. This is wide. Interesting. I wonder if you will be putting a border on this. Not that I'm saying it needs a border. Um, it is a gorgeous piece. I have to say I love the scale of the horse within this piece. Normally when we look at these like Magdalena style horses, we're getting a small horse in a much larger piece, and then lots of inventiveness in terms of how to fill the rest of the space when your horse is when your horse isn't that big. Man, we've got a lot more to go. Dang it. Um, Gosh, I'm looking at the time. I like that the horse is this big in proportion to this sort of golden rectangle shape you got going. It's really smart. It's a beautiful design. Kaz, you've done it so well. I love how you do all kinds of different styles. You are like a sponge. You just keep learning and growing and trying more and more things. Everything you do really well. No matter what the style is or what the materials are or what the craft is, you do everything really well. You do it with style, you know. This is just such a beautiful historic looking piece. I bet the class was a ton of fun. Cass says, I think whipping. Oh, that would be really good. Beautiful, Kaz. It looks soft and squishy. These wider cuts are so squishy. It's so satisfying to hook with a big wide cut like that. It comes along so well. And each little loop that you pull up gets all floppy and wavy and does its own thing. And it's exciting to see the way that each one settles down. You know what I mean? Each one has its own energy and starts making its own shape and its own echo according to the one before. Kathy says, looks like it could be 100 years old. Kathy's like a primitives expert, so you know that means something. That means a lot. It does look like it could be 100 years old. It's absolutely gorgeous. I just love it. I love it up at the top too with that sort of, and the bottom with the patterned black and white. I could use that right now. That looks like the color I ran out of, except mine has a little bit of yellow in it too. That's just what I ran out of. That's so beautiful, Kaz. You did a great job. Goretti agrees. She says, I agree. I love this scale. It's perfect to show off Dudley. It is. He fills the space up really nice. And I like that there's not the attempt to do Magdalena type stuff in the corners and lamb's tongues and stuff. I like that it's just the stripes across, right? It's different. Different is good. It's a beautiful piece, Kaz. Speaking of Goretti, here we go. You sent a beautiful piece in too. Hi, Deanna. Here is my first. You've got to be kidding me. Because you normally do punching too, right? Here is my first completed rug. I had many mental blocks so often when working on this piece, second guessing every loop and color choice, but I finally finished it. You are so good. You are so good. This is my own design called Contemplation. Are you kidding me? Seriously, are you kidding me? My husband Mike looking out at Lake Louise in Banff, Alberta. Not at all perfect, but I am happy with it. Grady, I haven't seen. Has Mike been working on stuff too? I'm just wondering. Um, you both have been so busy, but you are both punchers historically, right? So it sounds like this is your first hooked piece too. That's this is amazing. And here's Mike, and this is an okay. This is amazing, but seriously, I mean, this is so good. This composition is cut in half, and so this reminds me of the Group of Seven, probably because right, it's a Canadian scene. Now, normally, I would not like to see a dip in the mountains in the middle of the composition, but you know why? I'm loving it here because the footing, right? I'm referring to that little outcropping of rock at the bottom. That for us is the footing because we can stand there too, right? We're not floating in space and we're not hovering above. That's our footing too. So it's nice to see that in a composition. The footing is off centered to the left and Mike is too. So it is great to see a composition like this. And you already know this because you're an artist, right? It would not work as well if he was sitting right in the middle because we've got too much of a line in the middle. You did great with this composition. You did great with these colors. That nice light blue sky reflecting down, like this is like a mirrored lake, right? Like literally. The greeny, mossy, warm brown colors of the hillside or mountains, however tall they are, working at odds in the best possible way with Mike's red pants. That really is smart. It really is smart. The colors could not be better. And then a little bit of those cool, grassy, mossy greens and yellow down at the bottom at the footing again. That one or two, the little dark rock and then the larger rock that are interrupting the view. This is super smart. Your directional hooking is great. This worked great. The little silhouette, that little band of black that is, or dark brown that's an outlining in the distance, that shadow on the most distant line, brilliant. I mean, it's working. It's a brilliant composition. It's working very, very well. I'm glad you framed it. It honestly could not be better. It is so good. So good. Grady, that is so good. Um, yeah. Gosh, contemplation. I'm actually blown away. I mean, not that you've always done great work, but you're hooking, and you're not hooking in a small cut. This is a wider cut. Um, is this like a 7, something like that? And the directional hooking and in the water in the sky is giving it a great feel. It is allowing you to make the color placement very specific and exact. And the storytelling that you're doing through the directional hooking and the color placement is really, really well done. But just in terms of design, it's perfect. It's beautiful and it's perfect. Great job. Um, and wait a minute, did I? Oh, okay, Courtney. This is the one that we used for the thumbnail today. Goretti, that was absolutely beautiful. Courtney Lynn Russell, this is amazing. So Courtney sent this to me on Facebook because I drew this pattern for her, and this is in the Ribbon Candy Hooking Store. This is an adaptation of Klimt's Woman with Fan. And it is also, of course, right, I have a business in the description of this video. If you like it, it is large. It is large. This is so much better for me. Are you ready for something really sacrilegious? I like this more than the painting. And in part because it's I love Klimt. I love Klimt, but I'm just loving how saturated and wild these colors are. This is such a tapestry of color for me. The fact that it's hooked is it makes me feel so proud that I'm a rug hooker too, even though I didn't do this. This is all Courtney. Beautifully picked out, brilliant choices. Where to outline, where not, right? Because the lines are on the pattern. Where to outline, where not to outline, right? I'm very glad that you didn't outline, for example, a ton with her face, with her neck, with her throat, stuff like that. But I'm very glad that you outlined around the birds and the flowers, because it really helps them stand out. It is a confusing composition, even when painted by Klimt. There is a lot going on. The point of the composition and the way that it's painted, as so many Klimt pieces are, the woman's face is quite realistic in hair, and nothing else is, right. Everything else is abstracted in some way or another. Very impressionist style color blocking, stylization, right. Layers of abstraction, but the face remains realistic, and you have kept that trope happening. The face is much more realistic than the rest of it. You can read the rest of it, but the painting and the line drawing, for it to be true to Klimt, there were patches of it that I felt were hard to read. It was literally the way that it was, but could be hard to read. And I wondered how you would do with it, because it is a huge piece. It's a tricky piece. There's color bleeding without outlining from shape to shape. You must have just tackled it bit by bit, right? Because how else do you do something like this? You have to tackle it bit by bit. Focus on, you can't do typewriter times, right? And just go across and hope that you did it well, like it's light bright, right? You can't do that. You have to focus on the part that you're doing. And if you're doing a part that's semi-realistic, you just got to see it through. And then you got to move on to a different part and say, let's just finish this bird, right? This bird gets done. And in my mind, you tackle bits and pieces as you go. There is a little bit of a window into her working process looking at this. So you're seeing she's already filled out quite a bit of the background before she's gotten to the face. So that's interesting to know. I would say you would either have to do background face last or face first, one or the other. But I think it would be harder if you were doing any Klimt composition and you were like, let me work on the face for a while and then I'll do the flower next to the face, because they will be two completely different styles and you are likely to trip yourself up. It's almost like fresh day, fresh start, because completely different styles. So it's so interesting to see the way that you worked on it. You obviously could see, I mean, you're amazing. You could see that there is a big difference between the style of the background and the style of the woman. And you killed it. And we're getting a close up here of some of the materials that are used for it, and it's just over the top. It's over the top. I want to show you the whole thing again. Oops, sorry, Goretti. Over the top. There's so much to see, right? Your eye goes wandering around. It is an enormous piece, and when you think about, I forget how big it is, but you'll see it on the ribbon candy hooking site. It's large. It's good that it's large because it gives you the hot minute to be able to figure out what you want to do for each part. Now the colors are very different, Courtney, from what they are in Klimt. Some of them are the same. The gold is the same. I love what you did with the colors. It's so much more gratifying for me to see this color palette. I love Klimt, but I'm not a huge fan of his color palette. It's not awful, sorry, but I'm not. This I'm a huge fan of. It's so much color. It's exciting. For me, I mean, in this case, the model is standing in front of a screen, right? And the screen is painted, and that's the backstory. But here, it's so much more magical because you don't have such a stark contrast between the woman and the background, right? She is also way more colorful than in Klimt's piece, and there are so many more colors in the background. The two are kind of dancing and overlapping. It's very dreamy. It has a wild magic fantasy quality to it. It is so good, but you have maintained, you have managed to preserve the seriousness and the realism to the face, and I think that's a great hat tip to Klimt. But I think the rest of it is just all you, and you killed it. One of your favorite pieces, Melanie says, it is completely incredible. I know you're seeing all the comments, as you should. It is completely incredible. It's just gorgeous. We are going to be late tonight. Sorry about that. Courtney, out of the park. Right out of the park. All right. Love it. Oh, you can see a little bit of the drawing on the side of this one. Sorry, I didn't show this one yet. Wait a minute. I thought I only had 3. So some of the colors going in, and you can see the face is on hold, right? And see different textures of material going in as well. God, it's so good. It's really good. So you see the line drawing. Now everybody, Klimt is out of copyright. Everybody can do their own line drawing of this. Um, Everybody does a different style. This is my style, right, of the face. The face can have a lot more detail in it, but the more lines I put into the face, right, the more chance that I'm superimposing my idea of my interpretation of the face onto the backing. And I like it's like the 3 bears. You can either do too much, not enough, or just right. And for each person who gets any composition, whether it's one from me or from other people, there are a lot of people who have, I don't know if anyone else has Women with Fan. I really don't. But I have other Klimts and I have other fine art ones. And you can see from one person's interpretation to the next that they're very different. So my hope for you and for me when I do other people's work, hook it up, is that you end up with a version of the lines that 3 little bears, right? It's not too much, it's not too little, and it's just right for you. So when you're looking for pieces that are like public domain pieces and you think more than one rug hooker has them, check multiple stores, right? Again, I don't know if anyone else has Women with Fan. It is a huge piece. But if you're looking for something that's like a Monet or a Van Gogh and you know lots of people have them, look at each person's drawing really carefully because each rug hooking artist, designer, whatever, has a different style. And you want it to match your style the best. Courtney, I think our styles matched really well together because that, for you, that was perfect. You infused the rest of it yourself. I'm really happy about the way it turned out. It couldn't be any better than it is. It's amazing. I could never have done that. You killed it. It's amazing. Absolutely love it. All right. Judy Phillips says, oh, wait a minute, Kathy, let me come back. It's good to go from primitives to, right, like it's good for the pendulum to keep swinging. Judy says, I like Klimt's gold compositions, but I like his blues so much more. Courtney's palette is stunning. Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because I know you know this already, but, Klimt only did the golds for 10 years of his life. I mean, he was prolific and had a long life as an artist, but it was only that the one grouping of the 10 years after his brother and his father's death, his father was a goldsmith, that he was big on gold. So it was a very small slice of his entire career, but it tends to be what we associate with Klimt. And his colored drawings, like Lady with Fan, is originally very gold and very blue. And Courtney put so many more colors in it, really leaned into the color. I think Klimt would have loved that, really. Um, yeah, I agree. His really colorful garden scenes and, I also, the gold is the gold, and you get why it exists, and it's a lot of fun. But looking at Klimt, his lesser known pieces is a good exercise, like we were talking about earlier, because it's not what you would expect, right? It's going to surprise you. Kathy, you are the queen of primitive. Um, Hold on, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong sheet here. Wait a minute. This is an American country rug pattern. Oh, I know that American country rug pattern titled Deerfield Basket. Oh, I love Deerfield. I love this title. We live in Deerfield. So I thought, you live in you live in Deerfield, New Hampshire, right? Not Deerfield, Mass. We live in Deerfield, so I thought it appropriate that I hook it. I'm using a number 7 cut. Thank you for telling us. I always wonder about that. This is a big piece then, right? If you're using a number 7 cut. I changed the flowers a bit. Interesting. Oh, that's interesting. So is that round flower the kind that they were, and did you change them to the more petaled flowers? And you said, recently I was reading an article on primitives in Wall Street Journal. Good. And the author referenced the term contemporary primitive. I feel I now have a name for my style of hooking. I absolutely agree with that. You love the starkness and the contrast. You love the color palette of antique primitive rugs, but you do strive for color change and cool colors in your rugs. And this is a great example of that. You've got all of those classic warm, the primitive palette happening, but then you've got the really sort of lighter, cool colored green leaves. You always do that. And I love that you do that because it does, when you do something unexpected, and we are talking about dualities, right? Primitives have a lot of darks, right? So our eye kind of longs for dark and light. We're looking for balance and contrast, just because that's the way our brains work, right? The more primitives you do, the less you look for that, right? Just like the more folk art paintings you paint, the less you look for a horizon line. But typically with primitives, we are expecting to find extremes, right? Dark versus light. We are expecting to find extreme exaggeration with the sizing and the scale of things, right? Because that is one of the hallmarks of folk art. You always do little things, whether you're changing the pattern or not. You always do. You change the petals. I knew it. So you've turned them into more petals. You're doing exactly what everyone should do, getting a commercial pattern and changing it to be exactly the way that you like it, right? That's why you bought the pattern. You're spending all this time making it. It has to be exactly what you like. But you always do make these little changes, and they do tend to be along the lines of color. And this particular change is exciting and different. But when you make these color changes, it does change the feel of it. And it does feel more contemporary. Because while this could be a composition from the 1870s or 80s, the colors can't, right? Nobody would have used that color back then. I mean, nobody would have had it. Nobody would have used it. Who's this coming? Okay, hang on. Someone's here.
For so long, Mom.
I know, I'm running over. My hair's getting all frizzed out. I'm getting hot.
How long has it been?
Well, I went out at 7, honey. It hasn't been since the earth cooled. It's only been for 2 hours and 12 minutes.
It feels like it's been like 4 hours.
Oh, gosh, you know what I could use, though? Could you fill my beer up in the faucet with cold water, please? I knew it. Remember I said it wouldn't happen for 10 years? It only took 2 hours and 13 minutes. All right. Yeah, Kathy, this is just great. This is another example. I noticed the stuff that you do, and it's fantastic. Oh, come on. Can you get me some water from downstairs then? Please? Okay. I'm so hot, honey. Come on. I'm finishing up the show. Okay. Thank you, baby. Kathy, I really love... Don't go downstairs forward like that. You're going to break your neck on every step. Don't do that. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Sorry. Just checking. Checking our timing and all that. I'm running way over. I'm sorry. All right. Let's come... Kathy, that was a great piece. And thank you so much for sending. I absolutely love it. Promise that you're going to send it when it's finished, too, so we can see the rest of it. Shannon, I really like that pattern, too. I love primitives. Robin, this is gorgeous. I'm glad you sent this in for now because we are fast approaching the 4th of July. Robin, you wrote, Deanna, I have wanted to do this pattern since you put it out. I signed up for a class to add a braid to a rug, and I thought that the eagle would be a good choice. The class was at Shepherd's Wool in Eagle River, Wisconsin. Why did we not go to Shepherd's Wool in Eagles River, Wisconsin when I was there? I'm just wondering. That's on our to-do list next time. That makes me crazy. Oh, thank you, sweetie. I'll just take one. Okay, so you went to do a class where you were adding a braid to a rug. Well, this is brilliant. This was a good choice, right? Because it's a more traditional pattern. This is an original design that I did of sort of a patriotic eagle. But I didn't do the thing with the talons holding the, the wheat sheaves and the arrows and all that stuff. I kind of simplified it with this valance that I thought was very patriotic and put the emblem on the eagle's chest. So I simplified it in a lot of ways, but then I added the lamb's tongues around the edges for us rug hookers because I thought it looked a bit rug hooky. And I still feel like this, I am super patriotic, but I have a hard time finding patriotic designs I like. And I really liked this one once I drew it. This is a free pattern. And Robin, this is incredible. Like, I'm not even finishing mine because this is like way better than I could ever do. So this will be the standing example. So the class was at Shepherd's Wool, Eagle River, Wisconsin, taught by the owner, Terry Schaefer, who's been braiding for over 30 years. I learned a lot and I'm excited to do some more braiding. Oh, that is exciting. So this is a beautiful pattern. And when you... yeah, let's do that next time, Kaz. I really want to go there. Kaz says, Terry just opened the store. Oh, okay, good. So we didn't miss it last time. Okay, good. I love it too. So, and it's funny. I don't know if maybe it was somebody in your class, but a couple of people started asking me about this pattern. And I put it up, I think, 3 years ago around the 4th of July as a free pattern from Ribbon Candy Hooking, a gift. I put it up in our Facebook group, which is Rug Hooking and Punched Needle Club. And And then I don't know what happened, but it wasn't on the website anymore. We didn't take it down. But sometimes products go out of stock for some reason. I don't understand Shopify. I don't have the time to learn either, because by the time I learn more, it'll change. The rules will change. But anyway, it wasn't there. So we had to find it and reload it, which we did, which means now it is back up on the Ribbon Candy Hooking Store. The free pattern is also in the description of this video. Um, it's a free pattern, so you can download it and work on it. It's, if you are in the US and you are feeling patriotic, it is, I think, a fun pattern to do, and it's not as challenging or realistic as other eagle patterns. Oh yeah. All right. Robin, this is gorgeous. Thank you so much. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to speed up a little bit because we have a few more and it's freaking me out. Um, oh, April, you sent some pretty stuff. Hello, Deanna. Just something I've been working on lately. My uncle recently gifted me my grandmother's 1949 Singer sewing machine, which I am in love with. It works great and it's in great condition. And he told me that she worked in a shoe factory when she was younger. Let me show you this. I'm going to show you this first. That is a gorgeous machine. That looks like it runs like a train. He told me that she worked in a shoe factory when she was younger and saved her money to buy this machine. That is the sweetest of the sweet. I am so grateful to have it. That is so sweet. And you sent us another view of it. April, didn't, oh God, that is gorgeous. April, didn't a long time ago you did that composition that was like the story of your family, and it was tall and skinny, and it was like a road that went up, and there was events on both sides. I feel like I haven't looked at that. I'm 99% sure that's yours. I feel like I haven't looked at that in like 4 years, and I would love to see that again. Just thinking about the story of the shoe shop and thinking about other family stories and stuff. This is absolutely a beautiful machine. And when you have a family machine like this, you always have to keep it and maintain it, right? Because the good thing about these old machines, right? They're not always great for fine or fast work. That is one that I want to do, but I haven't done yet. Okay, gosh, that's weird. I totally thought that was you. Um, Gosh, that's so weird. Um, Sorry, now I'm distracted. This is such a piece of Art Deco, isn't it? The beautiful thing about these machines is that they work very simply. They don't have a computer, right? So if you're used to using sewing machines at all and you use a machine like this and something happens, I'm telling you, even if you feel like you're not a mechanical person, you can usually figure out what the problem is. And people know how to fix these machines too. They're so easy to fix. So it is great to keep them and to maintain them and all of that stuff. Love the machine. April, you also said, I've been using this a little mixed media journal, mixed media tree journal. The pages are mixed media and the cover is rug hooked. Oh, no way. No way. That's a journal. Okay, so the pages are mixed media. The cover is rug hooked. I have to do a little more to finish the cover, some of the inside pages, and bind it all, but it is coming along. Thought I would share. Happy cocktail night. Thank you for all you do. Oh, you're so welcome. This is so much fun. Oh, it's a journal. Oh man, how fun is this? I can see you've got it clipped into place. You're still finishing it off. This is fun. I'm so curious to see, because this is the only, I think this is the only picture I have. Yep, that's the only picture I have of that. Um, April's, when you can, send some more pictures, because it's a journal, right? It's something so different. I want to really see how it opens if it's not too personal and what the mixed media pages look like. Kathy says they may not be able to do fancy stitches, but they are workhorses. Absolutely, those old machines, they are. They're like locomotives. It's like the house shakes when you got your foot down on the pedal. It's a fantastic feeling of power and speed, and they get things done, right? They are great machines to have, particularly if they have family stuff, connotation. And April says, I'll definitely send pics when I'm done binding. Yeah, please do. It's such a beautiful piece. I'm so curious to see how it all works and how it opens and all that. April, that's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Now, Nada, this is yours, right? This is yours. Hope this is useful. Of course, this is useful. This is one of your stunning pieces. Nada, I love it when you do like differences of height when you hook. You are such a pro. The designer on this piece is Janine Happ. of Two Old Crows, New Jersey. This is wool strips and sheep curls, actual sheep curls, right? And this was completed on June 10th of 2024. Nada, this is so beautiful. There's so much that I love about this piece. I love these are irises, right? You know, I'm not a flower or garden person, but I think these are irises. It's so exotic and pretty. I love the higher hooking with the curls, right? And with curls, they do what they do, but they're so well defined, so much more obviously than, for example, roving, right? They are pure. They are actually the curls. So fitting that this would be hooked like this, and it gives a little three-dimensional pop to the sheep. It's just gorgeous. This row right in front of these flat, I think, orchids. Did I say irises? I think they're orchids. So beautiful. Great neutral background. It's not a predictable neutral though, is it? Because you've got some great colors in this. Even the little yellow on the eyelid is so pretty. Little pink in the ear, so pretty. But the brownish color in the background, I don't even know what to call that. If that's like a khaki or a camel, it's so different. It's a very mysterious neutral. And I love the kind of antique black border. And I really, really love the little curls, right? Because that to me is like a little joke on the sheep curls. It's not like all Van Gogh and swirled out in the background. It's just like little curls, little body, cute little face. The face is so well done too. I love seeing the direction of the hooking and the little white nose. It's just such a pretty piece. It is really, really lovely. It's a simple piece, and you've managed to infuse it with so much color. It is a lot of fun and a really gorgeous piece. All right, I love it. Thank you so much for sending that. I love it when you send. I love it when you send stuff. Valerie, you sent this beautiful piece. Good afternoon, Diana. First, I want to thank you for sharing your passion for rug hooking and design. I just have to stitch on the binding on the back of my most recent rug. I have 8 grandchildren, and this is the third project, finished project for Emily's. Oh, the printer, a sixth, the printer cut off, sixth birthday, right? Higgins and Queen Mandy are her pups. Oh, you've got to be kidding. Well, I can tell which one is Higgins and which one is Queen Mandy. I drew out the design and I used fiber tape to transfer it. Um, and you hooked it almost completely with number 6 cuts of thrifted wool. God, you're good. I have been having fun in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I just fused two. Wait a minute. No. Oh, Pam. Okay. Yep. That's still Valerie. And Pam, you're next. You're on deck. Sorry about that. I got confused. So, Valerie, you are hooking this in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. I was there not that long ago. What was last year? But was it last year? Um, Melanie, that's not yours. That's Valerie's. Valerie, this is yours, right? Um, no, Melanie, yours is the last one. Did I say Melanie? This is definitely Valerie Tillman's. Sorry about that. I have the right name on the slide and the right name in my hand. I hope I didn't do that, but definitely Valerie's. So again, just to recap, this is for Emily's 6th birthday, and I think on the left this is the dog called Higgins, and on the right that must be Queen Mandy. So these are her pups. This has got to be an original design. This is absolutely adorable. I love the color in this piece. Do you notice how detailed the grass is and how it changes color blue going from like the light blue in the sky to the cornflower blue? Isn't that gorgeous? Did you notice how the two daisies are quite different? So much fun. That I love knowing, and I love it when you all take time to say like I'm using like repurposed or thrifted wool, right? I didn't buy wool. I'm using wool that I found. I'm thinking that Higgins, the pup, well, it's all thrifted wool, right? Didn't she say it's all thrifted wool? If I transfer it, number 6 cuts of thrifted wool. I love seeing the patterning that happens when you're using a patterned wool as opposed to a solid. And I love the rainbow. I just love rainbows. It creates such a nice natural proscenium, and it's so much fun. You know, I know this is for a child, but I would love to have this piece like hanging up in the living room. It's so colorful. It's so happy. I love the positions of the dogs. I love the flowers and the hearts, and I love everything about it, the butterfly. It's super, super fun. It's a great composition. It's funny. It's meaningful. It's clear that it's an original composition and these are specific dogs, Rainbow Pups for Emily. It's so good. It's such a happy piece, isn't it? It's so when is she going to see it? Has she seen it yet, Valerie, or is she yet to see it? Or are you holding on to it until the sixth birthday isn't quite yet? Such a good piece. And hope it's not for me to say, but I hope it goes up on the wall because I hope that this piece lives forever and ever and a day and then another week and then another month. It is a gorgeous piece. I really love it. Super success. A piece she will treasure. Oh my God, what a gift. Right, in this show we see some gift giving that is just over the top. It's like, whoa, really. The rug is perfect for her birthday, Shannon says. Oh, I hope she goes crazy when she sees it. If you think of it, take a picture. Now, Pam, I have got yours right here. Wait a minute, let me get the next. Yep. Hi, Deanna. I hope you had the best vacation. I did. It looked like it was so much fun. I don't know if you got this last photo. I don't think I did. I've got it now. Henna stepping out. But this is where she stands at the moment. Pam, I hope it's okay that I got the other half because I had the bottom half in the email and I got the other half from your post on Facebook. I was so hoping that I'd be finished by now, and I ran out of both of my border colors. Calculations were a little off. Well, that happens to all of us for sure. And now I am waiting for my reorder to arrive. It's frustrating, but it does happen, right? Evidently, according to the latest updates from UPS, my order won't arrive until next week. Oh, that's frustrating. What normally takes about 5 days is now running into 2 weeks. Oh man, I'm not happy about it, but I really can't do a thing about it. Looks like I might be able to finish this rug by the first week of July. Oh, of course you will. You work so fast. Of course you'll be finished by the first week of July. Anyway, here's the last photo with the changes and the Prati petals and the Prati leaves added. Looking forward to gallery night. Yeah. Oh, thank you. So, I'm going to start at the top and then let's look at, oh, Valerie, her birthday is August 3rd. You are miles ahead. You are way ahead of the game. I love this. I love this piece. Henna stepping out. This is absolutely gorgeous, showing your watercolor style that is uniquely your own. I'm being careful about what I say because people are patenting phrases left and right now, and it makes me nuts. But I love the way that you are using a watercolor style because you are a watercolorist and you have figured out how to translate subtle transitions and color substitutions that you naturally make in watercolor into a textile fabric that is way more tactile and less fluid. You have figured out how to do it, and you do this better than anyone I know. This is so beautiful. Your color choices from the nice warm bird in the center and that nice warm vanilla color sky going out to the cool blues, right? Because you're a painter, you have such a good feel for color. That bold red, dark, light, dull, bright, right? This is a gorgeous piece. I'm loving the way that you're using the bungee things too to make the rug taut from side to side. You're so good. You're so good. Let's look at the bottom though, because Pam was talking specifically about the Prati. This this is where Prati comes in, not just useful, but this is why Prati should be there. This is such a smart use of it because it's such a literal piece. There's lots of whimsy here for sure. But you have room. You've got what is called a marble cake border happening in the background, right? This is more stuff we were talking about at a hit or miss. Very irregular border. It could not be better. All of those blues coming together in sort of the antique marble cake fashion. Absolutely brilliant. The shape of the bird, that lumpy, clunky shape of the bird, that fine filigree feel of the feet, right? And then right into that border, very irregular shape, perfect color choice, great breakdown of lights or darks. And the Prati is beyond the icing on the cake. It is beyond. It is so restrained and thoughtful. You don't have them at the same height, like they're growing at the same height. There is no hint of primitive style at all in this rug, although Prati is a primitive form. So incredibly, you have introduced Prati, which is a primitive form, to a rug that is super, super painterly and contemporary. I don't know how you do these things and make them balance the way they do, but you always do. You always do. You have so much good instinct every time you sit down and work. Your instincts are like incredible. it's like your instincts are running parallel with your creativity, and they're both going 120 miles an hour. I just don't know how you do it. It's such a great piece. It's such a great piece. I hope that when you, sorry, I'm turning into a literal hot mess fast. I hope that when you work on it a little bit more, you send some more pictures and we look at it some more. But it's amazing. It's just amazing. It's coming along so beautifully. Absolutely fantastic. And okay, Becky, you sent, we are getting toward the end. I'm sorry I'm running over. Becky, you wrote, "Hi, Deanna. I'm sure this is really late for tonight. I got it in. I got it in. But if you can use it, no, I want to use it tonight. I wanted to finish it a few days ago, but our air went out in the house with 98 degrees. Oh my God. And air conditioning bills, it's been quite a few days." I hear that, man. I hear that. I'm amazed under those conditions that you were even thinking about it, but you got it done, and this is insane. Excited for tonight. Time to hook and listen to my favorite rug lady, as my family used to call you. They've got your name down now. In fact, my husband can't wait to meet you in October. Oh, how fun is that? Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. It's nice thinking that the husbands are there too sometimes listening, because I know this isn't always husband talk that we do, and I know that I'm crazy and I go down these crazy rabbit holes. So it's nice to see that there sometimes is enough interest that people who are like partners and just on the periphery can also sometimes enjoy. This is insane. Becky, this is so good. This is an Alice Butler design, and this is called, I think, peach tree or peach blossom tree or something like flowering peach tree, right? This is an Alice Butler design, so this is a ribbon candy hooking design, and the link to this pattern is also in the show for tonight in the description. This is one of my favorite Alice Butler designs, and I have to say the thing I like Alice. I love Alice Butler, and I like everything about her designs. But this is one that the colors for me didn't work. Now that I've seen you do it, I am loving this pattern like more than ever. I really, really, really love this color palette. This is so many grapey raspberry purples that are heading toward like purpley gray tweedies, along with this super unexpected apricot butternut color, and then the pinks. Really unexpected. I mean, I can't think of another rug in my brain. A little bit of seafoam swirling in the background. This is absolutely brilliant. This is brilliant. Um, I just love this piece. I love where you've done the black outlining. I love where you haven't. Like on the first hillside, it has that Persian look to it, right? It's that charcoaly, dark, heathery bit. And then you've got like the flecks, but no outlining, right? You're really selective in the background about where you're outlining and where you're not. You have made a real a skeleton out of the tree that gives so much energy and motion to this very unusual tree. It has even more than the original for me. It has great color harmony. It has great energy, and it's more of a storytelling piece because that's my favorite part of rug design than the original. Right? It is not often that the for me original anything kind of second version of anything ever usurps the original. But in this case, and in the next slide that you're going to see, Melanie's slide, I like both of the color palettes. You haven't seen the second one yet. Even better than the original. And to be fair, the reason is probably that Alice Butler did this piece, I think, in the 1960s. So there was a color palette that was there that was very yellow driven, and that is my least favorite color. It's all personal choices, right? It's just preference. This, for me, is a more sophisticated and interesting color palette. I absolutely love it. You're getting lots of compliments in the sideline there because it is a fantastic piece. And the amount of the whitey seafoam color that you've got in there, to me, that would have been a risk, right? Because um, it's an abstract, right? That's more of a feeling than it is an element or a motif. Man, you killed it. It works beautifully. It couldn't be more perfect. Sitting down with these colors, I would have been very nervous thinking, I don't know if I've got too many neutrals and if I'm going to be able to pull this off. You pulled it off in a huge way. It's out of the park. It's a great piece. I forget how big this piece is. It's a fairly large piece, but you did great. This is incredible. I absolutely love it. And I do want to do some stuff with the Alice Butler patterns in the future, so you know I'm going to come knocking. I love this piece. And you posted this on Facebook, and Melanie, I don't think I had seen your version of this piece because I almost broke the back of the chair when I fell backward. Seriously, I was so excited. How different. How different. And again, the colors. It's delicious. Purple is my like favorite. The grape colors are my favorite. This is delicious. I not that we're doing comparing and contrast, but they are very different and they are both insane. This one's reversed, right? So let me, I don't know if it should, I don't know if it should, I can't remember if it should be or not. Hold on one second. I'm going to take you on a trip and make sure you don't get seasick. So hold on one second. I'm going to try to do flip vertical. Nope, that wasn't it. Hang on. Hang on. It's just me being stupid. Let's flip horizontal. Nope, that didn't do it either. Why can't it just say turn? Flip horizontal. You're like, it's getting too late for this, right? Vertical. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to take this into my own hands. Now you're really getting seasick, right? Hang on. We got 5 more minutes in us, and I am struggling with the keyboard. So let's go this way. Let's force this. And let's go. It didn't solve my problem, so that was a fool's errand. I'm putting it back this way. I wanted to flip it the same way so that the flowers are on the same side, but it doesn't matter. Oh, I'm guessing one of you punched and one of you hooked. That might be what's going on, right? Not that it matters. It makes no difference. One, I love this. I love this color palette too. One of the things I love about this piece that I think you both emphasized a lot was the roots of the tree, right? Oh, Melanie, I punched the design, so it's the opposite. Yes, I thought so. Fantastic. Oh, Jeannie, good to see you. Oh, it's so beautiful, isn't it? I love to see the roots of the tree because it's kind of a story about like age and roots and belonging and your place in the world. And the flowering, right? This exaggerating flowering when it's your time to flower. Boom, here it comes. Such a beautiful piece. They are both gorgeous pieces. I can't believe I'm this late. I didn't think I had that many things tonight. I'm gonna just both Becky and Melanie. These are gorgeous pieces. Thank you so much for sending them both. I'm going to show you really quickly. This is the working rug design I've got. I've already altered it a little bit for the cover of the Haunted Rug book. I know it looks silly like a child drew it, but this is usually how I work. And I will fluff it out in a way that is exciting. And you will see me filling this in. But I did fill it in the background last night almost completely. And then, as I said earlier, I pulled it all out. All of it. And I really damaged the monk's cloth. I hate working with monk's cloth. The only reason I did is because I have a surplus of monk's cloth and I'm kind of like saving the other stuff for orders and stuff, because everything's so expensive. But just to, recap the whole episode, what I did last night for myself and what I'm working on is I made the background. You see, there's like a border. So the border I'm undecided on, but I made the background this medium to dark purple. And that turned out to be stupid because I don't want a white sheep for this. I want this to be full blast Halloween colors. And I realized when I put in, you're probably 10 steps ahead of me. When I put in that purple background, it was so dark that I realized, uh-oh, did I do that? Because now I've got presumably a black spider and a black bat and a black hat on the sheep and a background that is not going to support definition for any of those colors. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, should I color substitute the hat and the spider and the bat? And then I'm thinking, I am literally reworking the entire design because I made a spontaneous and rushed grab at my favorite color of purple, and it's not the right color for the book. So I'm working on that now. And as soon as I have a little bit more to see, spider, oh, I wish I would have thought of that. It would be cool if the spider was red. He might still be red. I've got orange going in the background in more of a tweedy black pattern with like black, white, and a little bit of yellow for the sheep. And now I've run out. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do next about that. But I really want it to be true Halloween colors. And if as I said, it's the cover of the book, and this is like my precious project. So I really want it to be great, and I really want it to seem like Halloween. And crazy, but I have to think about this too. When people are looking at it as a thumbnail on their phone this big, and it doesn't look like Halloween, and you can't read it well, it's not going to be good. So I have to make sure that it's very bold and there's really extra contrast and everything is very readable. So purple made that a little bit too difficult because it was neither dark nor light. And it was kind of had too much personality and too much weight in a piece that had way more motifs to hook. So yeah, pull the plug on that, but we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. It's been I'm loving working on the piece. I'll work on it a little bit tomorrow because we're going to be here with my mom, and then I'll head back and I'll catch up with the new orders that have come out. Pam, thanks for the design. I like the idea of a red spider. That's really clever. I like that. Judy says if the sheep thread came from K's MIL, we may have more. Um, it's wool. Um, and it's an old vintage. I have a feeling it's a cut. It had lots of seams in it. It was like a roll of something for braiding. I have a feeling somebody cut up a pair of pants or something because it was a really small amount. But I think I'm going to be able to match it well enough. And I am swirling his body out a little bit. So I think I can fudge because I'm going to be really sad if I have to pull the second part out of this. I've got a lot that I want to hook. And if you would like to hook something for the Halloween book, The Haunted Rug, please let me know because I do have a few pieces left. And as I say, they are my favorites, right? Because I kind of released at the end the idea that I would be able to hook as many as I have, and I was holding some for myself. So if you're looking for some or you're looking for more, please send me an email at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com, ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com, and let me know because I have those there, and I'd be happy to put them on backing and send them out to you to do. Um, Thumbs up. Thank you so much. It was a super fun video. I can't believe I ran this far over. I will see you next time. I will be with you Monday for uh, coffee time at 11 a.m., different time, Eastern Standard Time. So moving up an hour for this summer. Thank you so much. It was so fun being together. Creative kids at work and play hooking. It's great seeing everybody. You can always send me pictures you're working on between now and a month from now for our next coffee time. Remember Magpie Times. Hold on one second. Remember Magpie Times. The next, so it just came out. Judy just received hers today. So then we ship them together, right? Because they cost a fortune. And then she sends me my number and then some. So I'll be getting mine in the next few days and I'll be shipping them forward. So all of that's coming, but they went into the printer a little bit late and they came out of the printer a little bit late. So be more careful about that next time. But it is right on our doorsteps. The next Magpie Times, the theme is the country fair. And what I want to give a special shout out for, I want it to be hooking, applique, penny rugs, latch, whatever. But I would also like to be a little on the heavy side with the autumn issue, a little bit heavy toward spinning, weaving, and actually sheep and animals that you would get wool from. So if you have any idea, like, and everything else as usual, but we haven't done a lot with weaving um, and spinning, right? Whether it's like drop spindle, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you do anything like that and you would like to do a full article or you have an idea for a full article or you know somebody who works in that sort of bracket and has great products or does something cool, please refer them or send me to them or send them to me or write something up yourself. I'd really like to have like a country fair where you see so many animals there and so much spinning happening. I'd like to have that in the magazine as well. So be thinking about that in case you have some ideas. I will start taking ideas and work for the next Magpie Times that will come out in September. I will see you on Monday at Ribbon Candy Hooking. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay away. Heat is all I can say, right? We can't take much more of it. I hope that you are comfortable and productive, and I